Mil basically kidnapped my baby. I made a throwaway for this because my husband knows my username and I don't feel like being surrounded by any more drama right now. So a little backstory: my husband is an only child. His mom has always been very involved. We got along somewhat, but she always sort of crossed some lines. She has a key to our house for emergency purposes only because she lives 4 blocks away. I had our daughter 4 weeks ago. She has been over at least 3 days every week since I've had her. She's always telling me what I am doing wrong and how she'd do things so differently. Baby is up every 2 hours at night and she insists she'd sleep through the night if she could stay at grandma's. I told her I'm not comfortable sending a breastfed baby away overnight at 4 weeks. This last week she kept pushing the issue no matter how many times I said no. Last night we put the baby in her crib. We stopped room sharing because the baby was so loud I could get no sleep whatsoever. So my husband has been getting her when it's time for her to feed. Husband fell asleep early and I dozed off. I woke up 4 hours later and started to panic because she hadn't made any noise. I was sure she had died of SIDS. Went into her room and she was gone. I froze and started screaming her name around the house like she would somehow pop out, like it was all a joke. My husband woke up in a panic and just screamed, "What's going on?" Over and over. I ran to my phone to call 911 and saw a picture message from my Mil of my sleeping baby in her arms with the caption, "Sleepover at Gam Gam's." I was immediately enraged. I screamed so hard I almost vomited. I called her and saw red. I told her I was coming to get the baby and she would never see her again and to never contact our family again. My husband decided it was best if he went to get her. When he came back he said his mother decides to let herself in and give us a break, that she was sure we'd hear the text and she thought we would be thanking her for a night's sleep. I do not give a fuck. I hate her. I cannot forgive her for this. My husband thinks I need to calm down, that we just need to get our key back. His lack of urgency about the situation makes me want to divorce him. We have never had any issues before this, but this feels like a deal breaker to me. I already had PPA and now it's through the roof. I don't feel safe in my own home with my family. I hate my Mil. I hate my husband. When I think about what happened I sob uncontrollably. I can't sleep now that I know I can't protect my baby. When I sleep I can't believe I did not wake up. I feel like the biggest piece of shit mother. If any danger really came I would have let my daughter down. Am I overreacting for wanting a divorce or for never wanting to see my Mil again? My husband and Mil think it's my hormones and I have overreacted. Am I overreacting? I just needed to talk about it with non-involved parties. I have no friends or family for hundreds of miles. Oh, and she also fed her formula while she had her, but that's the least of my worries. It still infuriates me because breastfeeding has been really hard for us. Update. I just wanted to give everyone a quick update. I didn't respond, but I've read every comment and the support I got has meant so much to me. I bawled reading them because I finally felt like someone was on my side. I called my mom late last night and I got a hotel. I refused to tell my husband where I was going but told him the baby and I would be safe. My mom is disgusted about what I've been through. She's getting on a plane today to come help me. This entire experience has pushed me to the point that I need therapy. So today my first order of business is getting a therapist set up ASAP. I decided to go alone for a while and when I'm ready, go with my husband to see if there is a chance to move past this. Right now I still don't want to, but I also agree I'm not in the place to make life-changing decisions. Either way, I can never move back into that house. I don't know what my plan is past these next few days yet, but I'm just going to take it day by day for right now. As for my Mil, I'm going to go to the police today to find out how to get a restraining order. Her and my husband keep saying, but she was safe. She was never on danger. I disagree. My Mil is clearly not mentally capable to care for a child. Who knows what else she would do because she feels she knows best. Thank you all so much. I can't tell you how much the support from some internet strangers has meant to me. Update. I want to thank everyone again that thought about me after my first post. This past 2 weeks have been crazy for me emotionally, but I saw the request for an update and wanted to let everyone know what was going on. Even though it's been generally uneventful, I got so many messages and comments with support that meant so much to me. So soon after I wrote that post my mom had arrived to help me get through my anxiety and support me. By the time she was here I was in a hotel and still had not slept. It was going way too long without sleeping and I think the deprivation of sleep was making me crazier. She came and sat with me while I slept. It was the most helpful thing anyone could have done for me. My husband asked to talk so I agreed to meet with him. He apologized and said he realized I was right. His mom had severely crossed a line and that it was hard for him to accept his mom did something so wrong. So in his head he was telling himself it was not that bad and that if the baby wasn't hurt then no harm was done, but he wasn't thinking about the hurt done to me and my feeling of security. He said he changed the locks on the home and would support whatever I wanted to do with his mom. He said he was willing to cut off contact for a while but asked I not press charges. We left it at that for that time. I told him I'd think about what he said and keep in touch. Shortly after this whole thing happened I got a lot of texts from his family supporting me and letting me know they were so sorry about what happened and that no matter what my baby and I are family and we have their support. That meant so much to me. People were finally backing me up and it gave me some peace of mind. A few days after seeing my husband we met up again. He had a letter from his mom. I thought about just throwing it out, but I decided to read it. It was a very long-winded apology. It basically said that she is sick about what she did. She said if someone did that to her when her husband was young she'd want them to die. She is terrified about losing me as a DIL and her grandchild, but she is going to keep her distance. She asked me to reach out if and when I am ready. I still haven't reached out to her and I don't know if I will. I feel like her letter may be genuine, but I don't think I will ever trust her again for obvious reasons. I feel like she sees it as an easier to has forgiveness than permission sort of thing. I'm in a hard place of trying to decide how to assert my authority as a mother without alienating my child from people who love them. I don't want my forgiveness to seem like weakness and in the end put my child in more situations like this. I've been getting help with all this in therapy, which I have started twice a week right now. The general guidance I get from my therapist is don't make any big moves yet, divorce, moving long distances, cutting people out etc. So I'm taking it day by day. I make sure my husband sees our child every day. We don't talk about the state of our marriage yet. I told him when I was ready we will talk. He's respected that and it's made a huge difference in the hope I have for our future. So that is really it. There weren't really any dramatic blow-ups or legal action. There are still a lot of unanswered questions for me, but this time has been one filled with self-discovery and support from a lot of unexpected places, and for that I'm incredibly grateful. TLDR, thank you everyone for your support taking life day by day. I love my baby. Stories number 2. Fiance used my childhood trauma to win a video game. I don't even know how to type this or explain my thoughts right now, so I apologize if I seem scattered. I, 31M, have been engaged to my fiancée, 29F, Emily for the past 3 months. Together for 2 years. She has been the only relationship where I felt safe enough to open up and discuss my past trauma. Many nights I have cried into her arms, and she has been there to comfort me. She goes to therapy with me and has been a rock in our relationship. I have been getting much better since I have really opened up about it and have been able to live a better and liberating life the past 2 years until last Saturday. Emily is ultra competitive, not just in sports, but in life. She will do whatever it takes to win and be number one. She has lost friendships, family relationships, jobs, and money. She understands this and has been trying to get better by going to therapy, stating she doesn't know why she is like this. She seemed to cool down over the summer, but she is still very competitive. Even her parents have no idea because they were not athletes and have never pushed her to be number one, and her siblings are confused when this all started. I was a former college athlete and yes, I am competitive but not so much anymore, and recently my friend group have begun a monthly game night. I was on a 4-month win streak. We play board games, old video games, painting, basketball, and even football, and it was all in good fun. But Emily last month was so angry she did not win. She walked home and did not want to talk to me for at least 2 days before we left for game night. I asked her to please have fun, and it does not matter who wins. She promised she would try. As game night came to an end, Emily and I were tied with one more. Event rules are if it is man versus woman, the lady chooses the final game. She selected N64 Mario Kart. I am king of that game. I never lose. I asked her if she really wanted to do that and called me a chicken and was big talking she will beat me at my own game. I should have backed off, but I caved, and we raced. Now, common knowledge is, let her win, and trust me, I thought about it, but she gets really angry if she thinks you let her win. Her attitude is way worse than. As we started racing, it was a tight race. She kept hitting the banana peels, but she kept catching up. The last lap she started trying to distract me by saying, he snores when he sleeps, basic middle school insults. Then she tried bumping me to distract me, but I was locked and focused. I responded back, at least I don't keep hitting the bananas, love. Very simple and fun. We are in the final leg of the race, and that's when she snapped, at least I didn't get SA'd by my own family. I froze up and dropped the controller and she passed me and won. She was jumping up and down with joy, was screaming and dancing that she finally won. From what my friends told me later, that she kept that up for a good while until she saw my face, and that's when she stopped. My friends were in complete shock, asking me if that was true. I could not speak. I couldn't breathe and was fighting back all the inner demons I had swirling in my head. I simply got up and wished them a good night and started walking. I was in a trance. I didn't know where I was walking to. Emily tried calling and texting asking where I was, begging for me to call and come home, kept saying she is sorry, just wanted to win so badly, and don't know why I said that. I simply needed space, and I told her to please stop calling me. I don't know what to do. I loved this girl and trusted her, but used that trust to win a Fiance video game. My friends are asking me about my past and won't leave me alone. I guess all I am asking is there any way back from this, or is this the end? Do I dump her or try and work this out? Any advice would be very helpful. TLDR, fiance used my childhood trauma to win a video game. Top comments. Commenter 1. Man, she got serious issues. In my eyes there no coming back from this. How could you ever trust her again? Commenter 2. Dude, right? Like, what's to say she won't do it again and blame her competitive personality for it? Commenter 3. She used your biggest, deepest wound, one that she only knew about because you trusted her, To win a dumb game she exposed your biggest deepest wound to other people without your consent. There is no coming back from this. You shouldn't want to come back from this. How will you ever be able to trust her with anything again? She has shown you who she truly is. You deserve better. I am very sorry you had this experience. I hope you are okay. Edit. I want to thank everyone for their comments and DMs. I have been reading all of them for the past 3 hours. I guess I knew this was the end of this relationship. But after spending 2 with someone and had strong feelings and trust, one wanted to see if a majority of people could see something else that I didn't that could save it. And reading the comments, I guess I overlooked that massive red flags that Emily had. I decided to sit down with my friend group tonight and tell them my past. It will be difficult and will text Emily tonight and meet with her tomorrow. I will update tomorrow after that conversation. Update. Hey all. I want to thank everyone again for all the support. It helped me clear up my head and really reflect the past few months with Emily and finally see the red flags I ignored or didn't press hard enough on. First of all, I need to get this off my chest. From ages 11 through 13 I was sick by my aunt. She would come over to babysit and she would do the deeds and have me do stuff to her. She would threaten me if I ever spoke out. I tried to tell my parents if she could not babysit. But my mother told me that her sister absolutely loves you and wants to spend time with you since she can't have children. If it wasn't for my dad forgetting his wallet one night, I believe she wouldn't been caught. My mom went mental and did not believe any of it and went on the campaign tour around town saying she is 100% innocent and I am just confused. My dad went into the bottle and tried to enter the shadow realm because he couldn't forgive himself for missing the signs. My mom then threatened me to make an announcement that her sister is not a predator, and then attacked me. My dad divorced my mom and she and my aunt moved elsewhere. All these years later she truly believes her sister didn't do the deeds. My dad and I are okay. He does not want to be around me much because of the guilt. Second, I met with my friends and told them my story and they all apologized and promised to help protect me in the future with relationships. They told me what happened after the event. Emily was trying to defend herself by claiming, I did not mean to say it, he took it the wrong way, I just needed to win this, I love him and didn't mean it. She has been calling all of them begging for them to please help her win me back and she will do whatever it takes and see anyone to help her with her condition. Meeting today with Emily. My friends invited her over and would sit in the other room while we talked. Emily was unhinged, came flying into the house trying to hug me, but my friends held her back and told her to just sit. I asked her why she said what she said. Emily, I don't know, I just needed to win so badly. I followed up with why she needed to win this one. Emily, because it was your best game and I don't know, I just needed to win. I again asked why she needed to win, what was the importance of winning. Emily through her tears, I don't know. I needed to win. She kept repeating the same line over and over. So I asked if she had planned on using my trauma against me and if that is why she chose Mario Kart. I never seen someone go white so fast. Emily just looked at me and put her hands in her face and blurted out, I can't stand not winning and I knew you would get distracted, and I could win and finally feel great because these past 4 months I've been so depressed from feeling like a loser and knew I could win with this plan. I was in shock and couldn't believe she said that. I realized that some of the commenters were right. She had this planned. I am still trying to gain control of my thoughts on this one. You had this planned? I asked. Emily, yes. I didn't think about what would happen after, and when I saw your face, I knew I messed up. Please, I want to get help and will do anything. Please don't end this. I asked if this was another competition in her head to win me back. No. I mean in a way yes, but not like that. So if you win me back, you'll feel better that you won. I told her I can't trust her anymore. What if we had kids? Will you see them as competition? If your friends are being flirted with, will you try and get more attention for the win? What if I am simply doing something and you blurt that out again to win? She had to be escorted out by my friends and was told by one of them I should get a restraining order because her mental of losing you may break her mind and do whatever it takes to win me back. So again, thank you everyone for all the comments. I am going to get more help and take a break from dating until I find someone who I can trust 100%, and now my friends will be on extra guard for any Emily sightings and future dating red flags. Stories number 3. My dad died. I'm 15 years old and my dad died last night. We were driving on the highway and someone swerved or something and hit us. I don't remember much of it. One moment I saw a car coming towards us, the next thing I knew I saw trees, flashing lights reflecting on glass. People were talking to me but I could barely hear them. I looked over and I saw my dad cut up, bleeding. A tree branch had come through the window and stabbed him. He wasn't dead then, but I think he knew. He told me he loved me. I was screaming when they took me out of the car, away from him. I'm in the hospital. I couldn't sleep last night at all. My aunt came in and told me he was dead this morning. She apparently is taking custody of me, but the social worker says they have to confirm things before she can take me. I don't really know what's happening. I'm hurting and all I want is my dad. But I know he's not here anymore. Apparently my big brother was told and is flying home today. I don't know what to do. I don't feel like it's real. I keep feeling nothing and then so much I want to scream. Why didn't I die there too? Why did he have to? And everything hurts so much physically too with my injuries. I had to talk to the police this morning. I overheard the nurse telling my aunt that they'd been able to keep them away because of my injuries last night, but because my dad died things were more serious now and I had to talk to them. I'm so tired. I don't know what's happening to do. I wish my dad were here. I want this to be some cruel joke so he can come out and hug me while I act mad at him. Edit, just for clarification, I'm a girl. Edit 2. My brother is here and I'm feeling a little better now that he's here and fussing over me like he always did when I was little. We've already cried together and my broken ribs hate me for it. I know I'll definitely cry some more later. He was talking to my aunt privately about some stuff. I don't really like that they're keeping some stuff from me, but I'm hoping they'll tell me later. Thank you guys for being so kind, and thanks to those of you who sent me PMs with advice. Staring at my phone a lot hurts my head, so I haven't read everything, but thank you for reading what I wanted to scream into the void. Edit 3. My aunt and brother were trying to figure out how to tell me the doctors want to do a surgery on my spine. I got so anxious about them hiding stuff from me I lashed out and they told me apparently the accident caused damage that they don't believe is immediately dangerous, but that could potentially paralyze me if they don't fix it soon, so I guess I won't be going to Christmas, but that's probably good because I don't want to celebrate anything. Also my brother said he was talking to my aunt about him taking custody of me instead of her, so yeah. Comments. Commenter 1. Buddy, there's not much I can say to help too, but I'm very sorry for all that has happened in a short time. Talk to the nurses, tell them how you're feeling. You're going to need a lot of help, not just physical. The sooner the better. Talk, yell, scream, get it out. Big hugs from me. Reply, thank you. I don't really know what I'm looking for my posting here. It's just so much that I need to get it out. The nurses are so busy. I don't want to bother them. Commenter 2. You aren't bothering anyone right now. All you have to do is breathe, nothing else. I know how much even breathing hurts, but it will get easier. Just breathe. I just lost my dad 2 months ago and I know how awful and overwhelming this is right now. Just keep reminding yourself. Breathe. Let the adults around you do the worrying. You just breathe and know everyone here is rooting for you and we're here for you. Commenter 3. I'm so sorry. There is really nothing to say that will help except perhaps I am certain your dad was grateful it was him and not you. Reply, I'm sure you're right. He would always do anything he could to protect me. I just wish it didn't happen. Commenter 4. Coming from a parent, this is exactly all he cared about in that situation. He was glad it was him and not you, and please cherish that he was able to say I love you one last time. What a gift for you both in spite of such a tragic loss. You may not realize it yet, but you will. I know he must have been so very appreciative that he was given that opportunity. NGL, you have a lot of healing to do mentally, physically, and emotionally, taking everything one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time. If that's all you can handle is critical. Don't think too far ahead if it's too overwhelming and makes you panic. Be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to grieve any way you feel like, because there is no right or wrong way, unless you let this ruin your life, because I guarantee that isn't what your dad wants. Let people help you, lean on them and draw strength from the love they show you. As many others say, we're here too. I wish you all the best and tons of strength for your difficult journey of healing. Sending love to you as well. I am terribly sorry for your loss. Update. Hello again. I hope that the new year is being kind to all of you. I have gotten a lot of PMs from people worried about me and wishing me well, and I wanted to thank everyone and give you an update. I haven't responded to many people, but I appreciate all of your kindness regardless. Also, this is gonna be long, so I'm sorry in advance. So the day I posted last, I was transferred to a children's hospital because after they did some scan and they said I had more damage than they'd first seen and high risk of paralysis if I moved wrong. They didn't feel comfortable doing the surgery, so I was sent to a children's hospital. I also had to be heavily sedated because I've learned that I now have an unfortunate fear of being in a car of any kind. I had a panic attack when they put me in the ambulance, uneasy face, and then another one when I was discharged from the hospital and had to get in the car to go home. It's embarrassing, honestly. Anyway, now I have a bone graft and some metal in my spine. They called it a cage, which sounds super weird. I'm in OT and PT right now. I also was assigned a therapist and a social worker. According to my therapist, I have a lot of stuff going on: survivor's guilt, grief in general, and separation anxiety, because every time my brother leaves I panic really bad. It's gotten a little better, I think, because at first I freaked out whenever I couldn't see him. I've been trying to be better with it because I know my big brother is hurting bad too from losing our dad. I'm sure he needs time by himself. It's not rational, but I keep thinking that if he leaves and drives anywhere that I'll never see him again. Christmas in the hospital wasn't bad, honestly. I was pretty out of it because of the pain meds, but my aunt, uncles, and grandparents came and we did Christmas dinner there instead of at home. I only opened one of the gifts my dad had wrapped for me. They're the last things he'll ever give me, so I almost don't want to touch them. My brother got approval from the social worker to keep me for the time being, but he keeps having arguments with my aunt and my grandparents about it. They aren't arguing in front of me, But it's pretty obvious he wants to keep custody of me because he wants us to stay together and they either don't want him to or don't think he can handle it. He's 23 and he normally lives across the country. I told him I didn't want to move out there and he said he'd already asked his boss about transferring to remote work with an eventual transfer to one of their offices here. Right now he's not working though. We're home. I was in the hospital for a little over a week. It's weird to be here. I keep thinking my dad is gonna come home from work. I've been wearing one of his old work jackets all the time. My brother and I slept in dad's bed our first night home. There have been lots of tears from everyone. My grandparents really wanted to organize dad's funeral. I was able to go. Thankfully I've been having bad nightmares, but my therapist says that's not unexpected. School was supposed to start back up today, but it was a snow day. I'm also not going back in person yet because of my car anxiety. My therapist recommended I do at-home tutoring for right now. My doctors advised it too because I still don't have great mobility yet. Overall I'm a mess and I will be for a while. Hopefully things get better though. But yeah, thank you guys for being so kind to me. Top comments. Commenter. The firsts after someone dies are the hardest. It is good that you have family who want to support you, but it will never be the same. I am so sorry for your loss. Let them help you, and if the nightmares continue, consider getting some therapy. I hope that in the coming year, you will continue to heal and have more good days than bad. Don't be afraid to lean on your family. I wish you a quick recovery. Update. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a lovely day or night. I wanted to pop in and give an update on everything that's going on because I've gotten a few PMs and also, I really just need to get out of my own head right now. First though, for those of you who have asked me, I wanted to say that no. There is no GoFundMe. My family doesn't want any of your money, and while I know everything is gonna be really expensive, I've talked a little bit to my family and they all believe it's going to be fine. Also, I posted on here cause I was overwhelmed and sad and scared, still am honestly, not because I wanted anyone's money. Now with that, I'll give you guys a little update. I am doing school. It's honestly kinda nice, it makes me feel like a person again. I am doing it at home though with like tutors who are scheduled to come by once a week for each of my different classes. I'm kinda surprised it's not an online thing to be honest, but I like seeing my teachers again. They've all been really nice even if they are kinda treating me like glass. My brother and I have mostly left my dad's room untouched, with the exception of the 2 jackets we each have from his closet, and when we sometimes just go and lay on his bed. I'm currently in his bed right now actually. My occupational therapist and physical therapist both are really happy with the progress I've made so far, but I'm still gonna be seeing them for a while. I think my OT has been asking about my hobbies to try and see if we can work them into my sessions, and I told her I wanted to try painting. My dad used to paint really gorgeous landscapes with his watercolors, so I wanted to try it. When I told my older brother about it, he said that I should use one of my dad's old watercolor sets. I picked one of the ones that he didn't use very often because it felt bad to use his go-to set. While I haven't been able to do much painting in OT, I have been painting on my own and it makes me feel so connected to my dad. I like to think he would have liked my paintings even if they aren't amazing. My psychologist lady actually has assigned me what she calls homework about painting my feelings, but I don't entirely know what that means. Other than that, therapy, the mental kind, has been going okay too. But my therapist has time to see me 3 days a week. The goal is to not see her that often obviously, but I definitely need it. She prescribed me anxiety medication, a daily one and then an as-needed one. We went through a couple pills already cause the first 2 made me a lot more anxious. Therapist lady said it happens to some people. The as-needed one that I'm on now makes me super tired, so I don't like taking it. But it's helpful when I have to be driven places right now because I still panic with cars. My therapist wants me to do exposure therapy, which is understandable, but it sucks really bad. We're starting with like a computer simulation thing. The more upsetting thing for me, aka why I'm writing this as a distraction, my brother is currently on the other side of the country. His flight left this morning and he's coming back tomorrow night. But oh my god, I'm panicking so bad. I'm trying really hard not to take my anxiety pill because I took one earlier and basically slept through most of the day, but it's so bad it's necessary. Like he needs to organize moving his stuff and like do something about his apartment cause he's moving back home so he can be my guardian and take care of me. But I'm so scared he won't ever come back. Like what if his flight crashes? Or if he's in a car accident and dies like my dad? What if he just decides to abandon me? My brain just won't shut up and it's so scary. Maybe I should just take another pill and sleep till he comes home. Both of my grandparents and my aunt are home with me, but it's not him. I'm trying to think of any other updates. My brother managed to get a full-time online position here with his current work until he can get another job. My family has chilled out a little bit, probably after seeing how badly I panicked without my brother, and are currently working together to make sure my brother can keep me instead of arguing. Evidently social work stuff takes a while. But yeah, sorry if I got off topic or rambled or don't seem like myself or if my grammar is bad or something. I'm so all over the place. Stories number 4. Aita for refusing to thank my sil cause she had to babysit her own kids. My 22F brother, 35M, surprised me 6 months ago by planning a trip to Scotland for my birthday. he knew I've never traveled before and wanted to take me to my dream country. Due to tight finances it was just the two of us, which I was okay with since at the time him and I were close. For context, my brother is married and has 2 kids under 6, his wife, 34F, had said she was happy for me and didn't mind holding down the fort for a week while we're on the trip. Her and I have never been close and quite frankly just tolerate each other for the sake of keeping the peace. She's never been a fan of how close my siblings are with each other. It all comes down to growing up in different family dynamics. Anyway, the trip was amazing and I loved every second of it. I was on such a high when we came back that I thanked my brother so many times for doing this for me until he told me to shut up. LOL. I thought everything was good and we resumed our lives normally. Imagine my surprise when I get a text 3 days after coming back from my SIL telling me off and calling me rude and ungrateful cause I didn't send her a text thanking her for babysitting on her own and having to do everything around her house for a whole week while I had fun with her husband. Yep, that's exactly how she worded it. I was flabbergasted. This is the same woman who smiled and told me to have fun on my trip, and now she's berating me for not thanking her for doing me a favor by taking care of her kids for a week. Am I crazy, or is that totally irrational and just weird? I told her I'm not sure taking care of your own children is babysitting or doing someone else a favor, and she blew up at me calling me a terrible ungrateful brat and that I never show appreciation for anything. I was so confused by all of this and called my brother, but he doubled down and told me the trip wouldn't have been possible had she not volunteered to take care of their kids so we can have fun and that I should be thanking her for doing it for me. I was and still am confused on why I need to thank a mother for taking care of her own kids. Anyway, to keep the peace I told her thanks for doing it, but she decided I wasn't being sincere and convinced my brother to go low contact with me. My siblings and my mom were confused by all of this but keep telling me to just bite my tongue and not stir the pot any further, but I'm just hurt and confused. My relationship with my brother has been strained since and it's taking a toll on me. I just need outside opinions cause I'm genuinely confused on whether or not I'm the asshole in this whole mess. This is my first time posting and English is not my first language, so excuse any errors. Edit. I can't reply to everyone, so let me clear up a few things I feel I should have included. They do not share finances. She has never spent any money on anything related to me. Also, last year she took a trip with her siblings abroad as well, and no, I don't know if her siblings thanked my brother for watching his kids. Finances were tight as in my brother was paying out of his own pocket and wouldn't have been able to take anyone else with us, plus this trip was a birthday gift not a family trip, so no one expected to join. I did thank them both when I was first told about the trip and I asked my brother if he was sure it was okay for us to go and he assured me we were set and I only needed to have fun. I later learned that she didn't contribute anything to the trip and said she wouldn't have wanted to take a trip with me anyway. Hope this clears somethings up. Top comments. Commenter 1. NTA, that's between you and your husband, would have been my only reply. Commenter 2. NTA, if anything he should be the one thanking her for taking care of their kids. You got invited to go and it was a gift to you. I've never been thanked for watching my kids, LOL, which I agree and understand it's a lot of work, but she also agreed to do it so you guys could go. I don't think you're the asshole here. Commenter 3. NTA, his absence made her life harder and she resents it after the fact. Update. Thank you to everyone for the insight on my previous post. The post kinda blew up in a way I wasn't expecting and the responses were overwhelming, but I now understand that I did not react correctly to her texts. This is a long update since a lot has happened. To clear up a few things before I continue with the update. A lot of you are fixated on the fact that I said finances are tight. I didn't mean their overall finances. They have separate finances and from my understanding, they only share finances when it comes to their household and kids. Anything else they pay from their own pockets and don't interfere in what they spend their money on as long as the kids are good and household is running smoothly. So since my brother was paying for this trip on his own, he couldn't take many people with him as that would put a bigger financial burden on his personal savings. They're doing fine. Financially, they take family trips once a year. I did thank them both when I was initially told about the trip. My sil later made a snide comment about how this was all my brother and she didn't contribute to the trip at all. Last year sil and her siblings went on their own trip while my brother took care of everything and he was fine with it. My family dynamic is apparently confusing you guys, but we're 5 siblings that are very close and hang out regularly and have a close bond with our mom, especially since our dad passed away. We are from an Asian country and the culture here and the bonds between families are different from the West. To those who said maybe she's salty I'm getting a trip when I've never helped them out, I babysat my sil's babies for 5 days a week for months each time her maternity leave ended. And each time they stopped needing me to help out only my brother thanks me, and that's fine with me. Sil has never thanked me or my siblings for anything we do for them. She says the fact that we're so eager and willing to drop everything to take care of each other is weird and unhealthy. I did thank her once I realized I should just keep the peace and tell her what she wanted to hear. Still, she didn't accept my thank you after I made the babysitting your own kids comment. I understand I was an for saying that now since a lot of you have pointed out that it was rude and that I'm not a mother and don't get it, but to be fair her texts were full of insults. She kept doubling down on the fact that she was stuck babysitting because of me. Many of you asked why I wasn't offered the ticket and went on my own. In our culture women, especially young ones, don't travel on their own without either a family member or their husbands. It's not about control but more out of protection for us, so going on my own wouldn't have been an option. On to the update, strap in, this is a long one. So I talked with my mum to better understand the situation, since many of you said I'm not a mother and don't get it, and she said my sil worded it wrong but maybe she just wanted gratitude for helping my brother out cause being a parent isn't easy. I understand that I reacted to her messages wrong when I could have just said a simple thank you. But neither I or my mum understand why she was so aggressive towards me in her texts. The aggression is what made me become so defensive. I found out from my siblings and my mum that my brother only paid for the tickets and the accommodations, and that my eldest brother is the one that provided the pocket money for food and buying stuff on the trip. And that my siblings chipped in but didn't want the credit since my brother wanted this trip to be like a thank you for helping them out so much with their kids over the years, and that he had cleared it with his wife and she had given him the go-ahead. She also told me that he had asked Sil if she wanted to come with us on the trip and leave their kids with my mum, who was fine with that, but she declined as she and I aren't close and it would have been weird for the both of us. My mum told me that my brother actually asked her to check in every day with Sil to make sure all was well and to see if she needed anything. She also said my brother asked Sil's sisters to check on her as well. It turns out Sil had taken the week off of work. I didn't know that. And for 4 out of the 7 days we were in Scotland she dropped her kids off at my mum's, and the other 3 days when my mum called Sil said she had her sisters with her and didn't need any help. So what the hell was she so mad about? It's clear to me that she wasn't abandoned by my brother as some of you suggested. My siblings initially wanted to just keep the peace, but after I showed them my Sil's texts they were surprised and appalled by her words. They thought this whole thing was a simple misunderstanding and now understand that it had become bigger and that my brother and I aren't talking. My sister decided to investigate and called my brother to understand what happened, and it turns out my Sil told him that my mum and siblings didn't check in on her at all, which is a lie. My sister even dropped off food for them twice, and that the kids were upset their dad left them and were throwing tantrums all the time, also probably not true, and that this wasn't what they had agreed on when he told her about the trip months ago. He was too busy trying to calm my Sil down to confirm with the family whether or not it was true. My sister then asked him if he'd seen the texts his wife had sent me and he said he hadn't, but that Sil told him she just asked me for a simple thank you for all her hard work and that I blew up at her and told her she didn't deserve anything since she didn't pay for the trip and that she was entitled. He said he was hesitant about believing that, since he knows I'd never outright disrespect someone like that even if I don't get along with them, but she insisted that it happened and that she had no reason to lie, and as her husband she needed his support not his questioning, and that's why he sent me the text saying I needed to thank her. My sister then let my brother know about everything that happened and told him, more like demanded, that they apologize to me, which I didn't think was necessary. I just wanted my brother to talk to me again, and he sounded upset and told her he'll figure this out after talking to his wife. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. Sil and my brother had a massive fight and he demanded to know why she lied and caused so much drama, and she broke down and told him that he was too close to me and my siblings and that she hated how the whole family babied me. I'm the youngest, and that his siblings' relationship with each other made her uncomfortable and she just wanted him to put a little distance between himself and us because her family isn't as close to each other, and kept telling her our close dynamic is weird and toxic. He told her her behavior is unacceptable and that she caused a rift between not only him and I but also him and the rest of his siblings as well because now they're mad at him. My brother did call me and he apologized for doubling down on what his wife said. He said it was already tense in their house and he was just trying to keep the peace and be supportive, but he shouldn't have treated me this way when deep down he knew I wasn't at fault. He also let me know that for the time being Sil will go NC with my siblings and I while they go to marriage counseling and Sil goes to therapy cause her behavior wasn't normal. He sounded exhausted and defeated and I just told him we're all here for him if he needs us. He made it clear that the NC is only for my Sil and assured me he won't limit his contact with me and apologized for doing so without even talking to me first. I asked him if he'd like me to reach out to her and apologize for what I said and give her a sincere thank you, but he said no, that it was never about the gratitude to begin with and that it's apparently a bigger issue between them that they need to figure out on their own, that we shouldn't contact Sil unless she reaches out first as she doesn't want to have any contact with us. He also apologized for her language with me on the texts, but I told him not to worry about it. Safe to say Sil's relationship with us is never going to be the same again after this, and to be honest I wasn't the biggest fan of hers, but I was civil and polite to her in the past cause my brother loves her and we've never had any issues prior to this. I do feel really guilty that all this happened because of the trip planned for me, but my siblings keep telling me it's not my fault. My mom says I should have just thanked my sil and kept the peace instead of having this all blow up so much, but my siblings told her that even if I had apologized it wouldn't have mattered as my sil would have found something else to cause a problem. But they also told me what a lot of you had mentioned in the comments, that saying thank you was the polite thing to do. And that taking care of kids full-time is not the same as babysitting them for a few hours, and it would have been good to tell her she's appreciated, but they understand that I don't have the understanding of what it means to be a parent and that having someone basically verbally attack me wouldn't have made me reciprocate with kindness, and I get it. I was ignorant about it and I acknowledge that. There are a lot more details, but that's the gist of it. Brother and Sil's marriage is strained right now and so is his relationship with us, but I hope that everything works out okay. I really love my brother and hate seeing him so defeated. Part of me wishes we never went on that trip because all this drama is draining. To clarify something, the only reason I was questioning the whole "I babysat my kids as a favor to you" is because I always see people criticizing fathers who say that and calling them out because kids are the parents' responsibility and not a chore or a favor for anyone. I thought this applied to both mothers and fathers, but perhaps I was mistaken because my only point of reference on this topic is what I see on the internet, as I'm not a mom. And since a lot of you have said I'm the AH and that she deserved a thank you and a gift, I messed up the thank you part, but I did buy her a magnet for their fridge since she likes to collect them. I went a little crazy and brought back little souvenirs for myself and everyone else as well, and it would have been weird and rude to give her kids gifts and not her, so I got every single family member a small Scottish-themed present. I was excited about being in Scotland, lol. Thank you all for your insights and advice. I really appreciate it. Whether you thought I was or wasn't the AH, all your opinions put things into perspective for me. Some comments were outright nasty though, and I didn't think name calling was productive or necessary, but oh well, that's the internet. Also, if you saw the OG post on some podcast sub, it's because my friend saw my post and told me to post it there cause she's a fan of them and thinks the podcasters would be entertained by it. I wasn't seeking out validation from a different sub. She was just excited by the idea that her favorite podcast might read out a post about someone she knows. She's weird, but I love her, so I did it, that's all. Comments. Commenter 1. It's not babysitting if it's your own kids. You weren't wrong. I understand there's a lot more going on, but she used you as her scapegoat and you stood up to her. That's why she doubled down and got even nastier. Good for you, BTW. Commenter 2. The dumb thing is you're plenty of time babysat their kids, got no thanks from Sil during the holiday. Your mom and siblings did a ton of babysitting or assistance for Sil. Sil also had her holiday without kids earlier, too. Stories number 5. Wife of 7 years left me. Well, on December 15th, my wife told me she wanted a separation. We've been together for 13 years, 7 of which married, and have 3 beautiful children together. She told me that she's never really loved me the way I loved her, that she has always had her guard up, and pointed out some of my mental and physical flaws as reasons as well. She says she thinks she can do it without me and wants to do so, without taking the kids from me. It's really difficult because we are still living together because neither of us can afford to move, and she seems so happy. Meanwhile, I'm doing the stoic thing and acting like it's fine, but deep down I'm really miserable. She's acting like we are best friends, still confides in me about things. It's like she has all the benefits of being married to me with none of the negatives. I don't have much of a support system to have a couch to crash on, so I'm stuck here trying to heal while I move forward with getting my mental and physical health in check. Stories number 6. I slept with a Japanese escort and now the footage is online. So yeah, went to Japan. I'm Japanese but born overseas. Long story short, I got curious and ended up sleeping with a very sexy, naturally very busty escort that kinda just seduced me on the spot. She asked me if it was okay if her cameraman stayed with us while we were together, and honestly, I thought that was kinda hot just because of how hot she was. So I said yes. Fast forward to now and I find out from a friend that the woman I slept with is a famous porn star in Japan. He knows this because he's seen footage of me with her. It's online. Not sure how to handle this situation. Stories number 7. Aita 4. Having an intervention about my husband's parenting. We have a 10-week-old baby. Husband, 28M, absolutely adores him and wants to spend every available moment with him. I know he wants to be an amazing father, however he engages in unsafe behaviors like falling asleep on the couch while baby is contact napping, leaving baby on the playmate unattended while the dog is in the room, or putting baby for a day nap with his bib still on. Husband claims I'm too anxious, making a big deal out of nothing. Baby can't roll yet and the dog won't hurt him. he holds baby firmly while sleeping etc. and I admit I don't react calmly and freak out, which makes him act defensive but he is being unsafe and it stresses me out. I feel like I can't leave him alone with the baby which only offends him more. Last week I had enough and asked my MIL and SIL to talk to him. They took my side and ripped him a new one. Now husband is angry that I brought him into it and made the whole intervention like he's such a bad dad. Aita for insisting my husband change how he acts around the baby and involving his family. Stories number 8. Aita for telling my husband if he doesn't get a vasectomy we aren't having sex for at least 2 years. Additional info and update at bottom. So for a little bit of background here, I, 24F, met my husband, Jake, 27M, fake name, when my daughter, 2F, was 4 months old. She was the result of SA by my abusive 3 ex-boyfriend and I left him shortly after finding out I was pregnant. I stayed a single mom and lived with my parents until she was 4 months old. Jake and I met on Tinder in April 2023 and started dating July 1st, 2023. We broke up in September 2023 because I wasn't sure I was ready for a relationship and we got back together February 2024 after being extremely close friends and him still being the closest thing to a father my daughter had ever had. The entire time we were broken up I knew he was my soulmate from day one, but seeing him with my daughter and how much they loved each other I knew in my heart that it was true. I made it very clear to Jake that I did not want to have another baby for at least 5 years because my first pregnancy was extremely hard on my body and I just didn't think I could handle another one and wanted my body to have time to heal. He agreed and he said he completely understood. I was on 2 forms of BC, we used lube with spermicide, and still used condoms. I found out June 2024 I was 5 weeks pregnant. My daughter was 18 months old. We got married July 1st, 2024. It was already planned, we just didn't want to postpone it so close to the date. I am currently 35 weeks pregnant and I am miserable. This pregnancy has been 5 times worse than my first. Hyperemesis, extreme morning sickness, severe motion sickness, uterine tear, subchorionic tear, pelvic floor therapy, severe pelvic and back pain, and now 2 weeks ago I almost died because it's putting too much pressure on my heart. I asked my doctor if I could get my tubes tied and apparently in my state I don't meet the requirements for a tubal ligation and won't for another 2 years. So my husband and I talked about a vasectomy. I told him that because I can't get my tubes tied I felt like it would be fair for him to get a vasectomy to avoid this happening again. He was iffy about it at first and then we actually looked into it and spoke to a doctor and spoke to some friends who have had vasectomies and he came around pretty quick when he realized it's reversible and we can change our minds later down the road. I called and scheduled him an appointment. He asked me to schedule it because he didn't have time to call due to his work schedule. I didn't just do it and tell him after, and it's been set for him to have it done February 5th for about the past 2 months now. We decided to do it before I almost died. Well, he told his mom yesterday that he doesn't really want the vasectomy but he also doesn't want to risk my health again in a year and a half because of another accidental pregnancy. She said he should call and cancel the appointment and just not do it, and if I end up pregnant again so be it. He told her he thinks it's kind of selfish of me to ask him to do that to his body when I'm not willing to do it to my own. I was in the bathroom so they didn't know. I heard them on the drive home. I was really quiet because I was thinking a lot about it. He asked what was wrong and I told him I heard the conversation and I'm sorry that he thinks I'm selfish for not being able to get my tubes tied and for not wanting to risk possibly dying and leaving my kids without a mother in a year and a half again. He said he doesn't want the vasectomy and I told him that's fine, it's his body and it's his choice, but if he doesn't get it we are no longer having sex because condoms and birth control obviously don't work very well. We got into a huge fight about it and he thinks I'm being unreasonable by giving him a choice between a major surgery and never having sex again. He told me I'm not even giving anything up for him to feel better about doing it and I told him I've given up my body for 9 months and I'm in constant pain and I'm now on bed rest until I deliver because of severe health complications. I've almost given my life to bring his daughter into this world. I think I've given up enough, and he said that it doesn't count. So Aita for telling him he either gets a vasectomy or we don't have sex until I can get my tubes tied, which will be at least 2 years. Edit to add. I want to add to this post to give a little bit of context. My husband is usually not like this. In 2 years we've only ever had one other argument. We usually agree on pretty much everything, and when we don't agree it's not a huge deal. During the time I have been sick he has been taking care of me. He has had to wash my hair, help me get dressed, help me walk to the bathroom and walk down the stairs. He's had to help me in and out of the car, and he's had to take on all of the parenting duties for our toddler. I can't pick her up to change her diaper or put her in her high chair or give her a bath because I can't lean down or lift her without almost passing out. He has taken over every single parenting responsibility. He has taken over all of the cleaning and cooking. He has taken amazing care of me and our daughter during this hard time. So for all of you saying, I don't know why you'd stay with him, he doesn't love you. I can't agree with you there, he's an amazing father and usually an amazing husband. He's just got a very strong opinion about this. As for the people saying I'm trying to force him to have a surgery he doesn't want, you guys are saying, his body his choice, and you're absolutely right, he doesn't have to have the surgery, but you're also slamming me for saying I do not want to have sex with him if he doesn't get it because I do not want to end up pregnant again before my body is ready. Just like he has a choice in what happens with his body, I have a choice in what happens with mine. I have every right to refuse to have sex with him and refuse to get pregnant again. He has even admitted that he doesn't necessarily want another baby after this one, but he doesn't want to take away his chance to change his mind later on, which I understand. I've never once told him he has no choice in the matter. I've just told him the only two options we have for the next 2 years until I am eligible for a tubal. Now the reason I am not eligible for a tubal is because where I live you have to be 26. I said 25 in a reply to a comment. I apologize for that, it was a typo. With at least one healthy living child, have a child with severe disabilities, have had preeclampsia or placenta previa, have 3 healthy living children, or have pre-existing health conditions that makes pregnancy dangerous. I do not fit those guidelines. My daughter is extremely healthy, neither of them have disabilities. I've not had preeclampsia or placenta previa. I was extremely healthy prior to pregnancy. And I'm not 26. I was on birth control when I got pregnant. As I mentioned before, I was on the IUD and I was wearing birth control patches before the IUD. I tried the depot shot, which gave me a 6-month headache with a 6-month period and severe stomach pain. And Nexplanon, which I was on for almost a year after my daughter was born, and I had a period for the entire time I was on it. Severe cramps that were so bad I ended up in the hospital a couple times. And I lost my appetite completely and lost so much weight I was put in the hospital for a supposed eating disorder, and it was finally taken out at the hospital. I also tried multiple different forms of because pill and they all made me extremely sick, and I would throw them back up within 2 hours of taking them. My body has had severe reactions to everything except the IUD and patches, which obviously don't work very well. So yes, I could get back on birth control and not have him have the surgery, but we would end up back in this same position in a year or two. I was also on birth control when I got pregnant with my first, the patch, and that didn't work either. For a little update as well, I sat him down last night when he got home from work and told him that I really didn't appreciate the comment he made about how my sacrifice doesn't matter. I told him that it was really shitty of him to look me in the face and tell me that me giving up my body for 9 months when I didn't want to, giving up my job because I was put out of work early in my pregnancy, giving up my health, and then having to risk my health again in a couple of weeks to bring our daughter into this world was me not sacrificing anything. He immediately apologized and admitted he had had a drink when we were at his grandmother's house. He doesn't drink often, because he can be a dick when he's drinking, and we were over there for a birthday party for his cousin, so everyone was standing around drinking, and I guess he had had a beer when I left to go to the store for his mom. He said I was 100% right, that it wasn't fair for him to say that because he knows I've given up a lot for our family and that my health risks do make it even more of a sacrifice. He apologized for what he said and we talked about everything. I asked him if he wanted a vasectomy and he said, I don't, but I also understand why it's necessary. I just feel like I don't be as much of a man anymore after I get it done, and I worry about if we change our minds later and want another baby but the reversal doesn't work. So I told him it's fine if he doesn't get the vasectomy, but I need him to understand why I'm saying we won't be having sex. He said he understands after he told his mom what's going on. Turns out his mom didn't know the full extent of what happened when I coded at the hospital, and for context my heart rate sky rocketed, then dropped into the teens, and my blood pressure completely bottomed out and I was having multiple seizures. He had told her I was at the hospital and I had some issues, but he didn't tell her the full extent of how bad it was there and how much help I needed afterwards at home. So once she found out the full extent, she 100% agreed he needed to get a vasectomy. She also wasn't aware that I had already asked and tried to get my tubes tied. She thought I didn't want my tubes tied, and that's why I was telling him he needed to get the vasectomy. Once she had the full story with all the information, she agreed he needed the vasectomy and told him he was being a selfish ass by not getting it after everything I've been through. But when we talked, he said he understands my point of view and why I feel the way I feel about the vasectomy and not having sex if he doesn't get it. He told me that even though he's not 100% comfortable with it, he doesn't want to risk another baby that could kill me, so he's willing to get the vasectomy. He genuinely felt bad for everything and for being so selfish, and told me that if he were me he would have left the moment I said something so awful. But I love my husband and he's not usually like this at all, and I'm gonna stick with him no matter what. But in the end we got it resolved, and that's what's important. Stories number 9. Aita for banging my husband at my daughter's housewarming party. My husband and I were invited to visit my daughter and her live boyfriend at their new apartment for a housewarming party. We brought them a new microwave, and somewhere between chatting with their friends and eating hot dogs my husband gave me the look and was flirting with me while everyone gathered to hear a ghost story. We slipped away to her bedroom and started woohooing. My daughter intrudes on us and yells at me and tells me we are being rude guests, so I yelled at her and told her she was being disrespectful to her mother and father. She then kicked us out. We haven't spoken with her in a week, and I heard she got engaged, but her now fiance didn't ask for my husband's blessing or even announce their engagement to us. Aita. Stories number 10. Aita for telling my mom she can't share a room or a bed with her boyfriend in my home. When I, 27F, was in college, I met my boyfriend and we moved in together, sharing a place with some friends. After dating for a year, I was 19 when we met and 20 when we moved in together. We decided from that point onward to take turns spending Christmas with our families, but the first year we were supposed to see mine. My mom made it clear my boyfriend could not stay and we weren't sharing a room or a bed in her house. My dad argued in favor of letting it happen since I was an adult and living with him already, but mom said no, she hated that I wouldn't stay at their house then and instead booked an Airbnb. She said I should respect the rules of her house and I told her I was, but I didn't want to tell my boyfriend to be alone on the holidays and especially when his family had welcomed us together happily. After that I made it clear there would be no coming to visit, like that if I couldn't sleep with my boyfriend. My mom said it wasn't like we were married, so she had every right to that rule. 2 years ago my dad died, and for 11 months my mom has been in a relationship with her boyfriend. They don't live together exactly, but according to my brother he was there most nights while he was still there. My mom and brother aren't really talking right now. My brother could hear mom and her boyfriend in bed and he hated it, so he moved out. He's also 22 and had wanted to, but it gave him the push to move. My mom was furious and demanded to know why he was leaving out of nowhere, and she freaked, and my brother told her he was tired of hearing them. It started mom off on him not being happy for her that she found someone again after dad died. My mom seems to be missing my brother being around, and she told me she misses having her kids around her, so she wanted to visit for a week or two soon. She wanted to bring her boyfriend along, and I told her she can't share a room or a bed with him in my home. I told her I do not want to hear that. She got mad at me and said she's a grown woman and should be allowed her freedom. I told her she was alright denying it to me, and I wasn't even planning to have sex in her house, but it sounded like she doesn't care if we hear or not, and I'm not dealing with it. I also told her I wasn't going to reward her with sharing with her boyfriend when she has been so strict with me about it. My mom accused me of acting like a petty child. Aita. Stories number 11. Neighbor keeps harassing me about my children. My neighbor is a remote worker, so she has complained since the first day we have moved in because she is working. My children are in school Monday through Friday and also in sports Monday through Friday. Every single time my children are home she is banging on the ceiling. Recently she has come to my door twice. I have put in complaints to the apartment about her coming to my door, to which they told her she was no longer allowed to do that or complain to the office, and if there was a neighbor dispute to call the police. Well, she did just that. Last night at 8 p.m. she called the police. My children were in bed. The cop said he didn't hear any noise, he didn't even come in. He also said he wouldn't be making a report. What now? I genuinely think she's trying to get us kicked out if my children play at all or have a long weekend or spend any amount of time at home. She is upset. Is this not harassment? They are in bed by 8 every single night. The city noise laws are 10 p.m. They aren't being loud, they are existing. Stories number 12. My husband, card hobby, is ridiculous. My husband, hobby, is killing our marriage. I need advice. My husband and I have been married for 5 years with a 3-year-old daughter, and my husband, card hobby, is killing our marriage. For background, last year he started getting into wanting a hobby/business is buying and selling NFL NBA cards, which he started after having gambling issues with roulette virtually. He ended up hiding how much he was spending, putting at least $8,000 on the credit cards in 2 to 3 months without him selling any cards. I am the breadwinner in the family as well. I make approximately $7,200 a month post-taxes, and he makes about $4,000 post-taxes monthly. Before having the hobby he also bought a $90K car with a $1,745 car payment, because it made him happy, although I said it was not a good idea. Due to the spending issue and other factors like him having anger issues, I filed for divorce last year. He said he would quit the hobby and sell all his things, do therapy, and change. I canceled the divorce and stayed to work on the marriage with a marriage counselor. We did sessions, but over time he hasn't felt like they've been necessary. We have now $72K in debt consolidation because of cards, his past gambling, as well as a multiple of different things. 1 year later he is now into his hobby again and has already put about $800 on the credit cards. He is trying to use TikTok or whatnot to do a game platform and make money. His philosophy is you have to spend money to make money. Like example, he wanted to buy $1,000 worth of packs of unopened cards to try and sell them. When I explained that I am not a fan of this hobby, he says I can't ever let him have a hobby, and I'm glad it not golf because he would never be home. I honestly feel like this is not going to end well. We have also tried splitting finances, but that wasn't the best as he was not always able to pay me back for half the mortgage or our daughter's school. I really just don't think this marriage is going to last unless I support this hobby and let him buy/spend on whatever he thinks is necessary. Update. I went through his eBay account and found he put 2 bids for a $1,500 card and $1,900 and made an offer to a third card for $1,900. Stories number 13. Aita for calmly giving my wife a warning slap. I know this seems bad, but hear me out. My wife, 18F, and I, 35M, have been married for 1 year, 3 years together in total. She is pregnant and soon to be giving birth to our child. I am also pregnant and soon to do the same with a burrito I ate. I was rushing coming home from work when my wife started screaming in pain. She said that her water apparently broke and that the baby was starting to kick its way out her downstairs business. I, however, felt like I had more urgent matters to tend to, like my stomach pressuring me to head to the toilet, so I went to the toilet and gave birth to the biggest brown quarter pounder that I've ever birthed. My butt felt pretty sore afterward, so I spent some time cleaning up the leakage and then checking my phone while sitting down post-fecal partum. Apparently in the time that it took me to give birth, my wife also had our baby. However, when I went to see my newborn child, she yelled at me asking what took so long and how I was ignoring her. During a vulnerable moment I told her I had an upset stomach due to being pregnant, and as an ex-pregnant woman, I thought that she would understand my poor leaky butt's pain. She said that I was being completely selfish and refused to hand over our child. That's when I gave her the warning slap right to her face. Now she's calling me an abuser and has already called up a lawyer that accepted her request to draw up divorce papers. My mom, who bless her, was able to handle giving birth effortlessly without complaining, says that I was completely in the right for giving her a slap, but her sister says otherwise. So Aita. Stories number 14. Everything in my house is turning green. Everything in my house is turning green. At first it was just my cat, and then it became my bed sheets, my feet, which then stained my shoes and socks, my couch, my phone charger, and now my wall. What it is, I have no idea where to post this, but I'm wondering if anyone knows how to get rid of it or what it is. At first I thought mold, but now I'm thinking maybe my laundry detergent pods, which are green, but I did a test wash and dry and it didn't stain my clothes until I wore them for a few hours around the house before it turned green. Comments. Commenter 1. I've seen stories about industrial materials like copper from roofing materials turning cats green. Are your cats indoor cats, or do they have access to industrial or cleaning materials that might be stored in your garage, closet, or laundry room? Commenter 2. Long shot, but maybe check under your bed, if you have box springs, or under any furniture. Sometimes the material used under furniture will degrade and break up over time and dye things. I had it happen with a chair once and it took me a while to figure out that's where the color was coming from. Reply, thanks. Flipping my bed now because I noticed most of the green things are in my bedroom and not at all in my spare bedroom. Sadly I didn't see anything under my bed, but I did notice one of the wooden panels at the very end was a bit green, but likely stained from the side of the box frame, which has velvet. Commenter 3. It's probably the velvet pile from the frame, then. It rubs onto everything and cats love to rub against velvet. Could be that the cats are rubbing against it and then transferring the fuzz and or dye to the other places you're seeing green. Commenter 4. It wasn't on the floor, right? I am assuming this is dye of some sort from its shade, but mattresses on the floor can have mold issues. Reply, not on the floor. It's on a bed frame that kind of looks like a box frame, but it has velvet. Commenter 5. Sorry, but I laughed so hard when reading the story because I liked the idea that when the cat turned green you thought nothing of it, but the second everything else went was when you figured something was up, like the poor cat just does that sometimes. LOL. Reply, haha, no, I took her to the vet, but she's such a troublemaker. I just imagine she probably got into something. The green was also super faint and she would clean herself, so it varied throughout the day. I thought I was going crazy, or maybe the light was making her look green to me. It wasn't until my friend was like, why is she green? And I was like, wait, you see it too? Commenter 6. This happened in my aunt's apartment from a lack of ductwork cleaning/air filters being neglected. It was so annoying and ruined her white carpet. Reply, I just checked the filters of my air purifiers and they were green. Commenter 7. Not sure about the cats, but pics 2 to 4 look like dye stains/leakage from jeans or another dark fabric. Reply, the wall pictured is where my bed leans against, in which my pillows began staining the same color. The other pic is my blanket. I'm so confused what is staining it since I live in a very boring beige house. Commenter 8. I would look into ventilation, replace filters if you have central AC, possibly might be some sort of air contamination, possibly metal in nature, and all the particles eventually stick to electrically charged stuff, static. Reply, I've called my AC company to come by and see. Commenter 9. These wicked promos are getting out of hand. Reply, I've been joking that my cat has been turning into Elfie. Update. Hi. So I don't know if this is allowed, but I wanted to post an update to my original post because many people asked for one. I honestly don't know how to work Reddit all that well on mobile and couldn't figure out how to edit my original post. Heck, I don't even know how to link my original post properly, but here's the update. I had my water and AC checked and both were fine. The technician said my water hardness was a bit hard, but he didn't think that would affect the green stains I've been seeing. I also got rid of the red bed sheets I had in the pic and put back on my boring corporate beige ones the day I posted the original post. Then I waited. It's funny because I was trying to determine if the green stains were going away based on if my cat was turning green anytime I saw she was becoming greener. I determined that whatever I changed wasn't the cause. Well, I got my water softened and with my new bed sheets, my cat was still turning green but a lot slower, so maybe it was just from the residual green that was now stained on my couch and velvet bed frame. Then we had another person inspect for mold, which was also a negative. Some other commenters had mentioned they had bought the same bed sheets on Amazon and had a similar problem, so I think it is that. On another note, someone also commented asking if my husband was cheating on me with someone who wears Old Navy jeans. I won't lie, when that comment came up, I nervously laughed. I quickly checked our joint bank account for any Old Navy purchases. While there weren't any, I couldn't shake this strange feelings. Although the commenter did not know me or my husband, coincidentally, I've already had suspicions on a possible affair from the multiple last-minute overtime shifts and just overall changes in behavior. Also, my husband has cheated before, so I've always been a bit anxious. So when I saw the comment joking ABT if my husband's affair partner wears Old Navy jeans, I spiraled. And then I admit I did the bad thing and looked through my husband's phone and there it was some sexy Instagram DMs from a woman who wears jeans. Cannot confirm if they're Old Navy. So anyway, I've spent the last week at my parents' with my cat. TDLR, I can't confirm that the cause of the staining was because of the bedsheets, although my cat did turn green much more slowly when I changed them out. Plus other people complained of the same staining issue that purchased the same sheets as me. Found out my husband was cheating on me with a woman in jeans. Comments. Commenter 1. Wow, the twist I did not expect. On the cleaning sub no less. I am so sorry for your situation OP, but also, this is an insane update. The drama of it all. Reply. I know I honestly feel bad for bringing the drama on the cleaning sub. Commenter 2. Sometimes the cleaning sub needs a little drama. Commenter 3. I was the Old Navy jeans commenter, screaming I'm sorry you found out like this OP, but glad the truth came out. Reply. I wish I could have seen your face when you read this update truly, but anyway, thanks for commenting it even though it was a joke. No hard feelings at all. Commenter 4. Can you give me some lotto numbers? Maybe you're becoming clairvoyant LOL. Commenter 5. What a goddamn roller coaster. I'm so sorry, I hope your future consists of 0 cheaters or mysteriously died pets things. Reply, thank you. Although I've been having lots of laughs with my little green goblin girl. Commenter 6. Hang in there, OP sorry you're going through all of this. Hugs pleading face. Return those sheets if you can, if not, trash them or maybe donate them somewhere, but with a note saying you're not sure if they were turning stuff in your house green via dye transfer so someone else doesn't go crazy if the sheets were the culprit. With jeans, the darker the wash, the more likely this can be to happen. It's not limited just to Old Navy jeans, although they might be particularly known for doing this. Imagine cheating with someone who wears jeans. Shudder. What kind of monster even wears real pants these days? Clearly I'm not actually insulting people who wear pants, just trying to crack a joke to make me laugh. My brain works in weird ways at times. I apologize if my joke comes across insensitive. Simply wanted to take the opportunity to make you laugh for a second if possible. Reply, oh. I'm going to return them to Amazon, thank goodness for the extended holiday return dates, and I mentioned it possibly turned my house green, though I can't confirm fully that it was the cause. I didn't really like those bed sheets anyway. They were much too bold for me and my beige house. It was actually quite impressive how many photos she had of herself in jeans, dark denim, light denim, ripped, skinny, flared, mom jeans. You name it. I don't think I've worn jeans since I was 12, and that was because it was a Christmas present from an aunt I see once a year LOL. No matter how cold it is, I couldn't ever think about trapping my legs in jeans LOL. I don't mind the jokes. I'm having a grand time. In fact, I apologize for seeming totally okay after all this. I'll admit that I was a mess the first time around, so I guess this time I was more just disappointed, but I think I wasn't ever the same after the first time, maybe less in love, so there wasn't much to lose this time. I do expect there will be a day where I might fall apart, and maybe that's when I'll sleep in my house again, but maybe it'll also feel great because now I'll actually have room to spread my legs since I used to share the bed with my husband and my many cats. Anyway, thanks for reading all of this. I know both the OG post, the update, and this reply is super long but thank you anyway for keeping my in your thoughts. Stories number 15. Me, 32M, and my wife, 29F, fighting about colleague, 22F, she thinks it's inappropriate, I think she's just being possessive. Edit. I know this is long but it's necessary, my marriage might be on the line, help a bro out. My wife and I have been married for 2 years, together for 8. She's never been the jealous type till just recently with this situation. I started a new job about a year ago, it's a management position and requires a lot of recruiting. I've been doing pretty good building a team I need to in order to advance further, and I'm so close. I make great money doing what I do and have been able to give the wife and I a much better quality of life as a result. Anyway, one of my recent recruits is a young female, she's a great addition to my team, she brings in awesome numbers, very teachable and all around just fun to have in the office, and yes, she's very attractive, but I'm faithful and love my wife and would never do something inappropriate. The wife hates her. I'm not used to this from her. I've had female friends and colleagues in the past, attractive ones too, it's never been a problem, but this girl, holy shit, we've been fighting constantly now. Part of team building and keeping your team is being social with them. This is encouraged by the higher-ups who even cover the cost of nights out to hang out with your team in an informal setting. We encourage team members to bring their spouses too. Well, like 3 weeks ago, we were supposed to have one of these nights but we had 2 road trips going on, so most of my team was out of town. I only had the new girl and another new guy in town, and the new guy bailed. Normally my wife would come but she was working, so it ended up just being my new girl and myself. Eating wings and having some drinks. My wife called to say she was off and could come join, but I decided that since everyone was gone, that maybe she should sit this one out because my new girl was really new and I didn't want a third. Well, her wife didn't like that. To it off, the new girl thinks she's being funny and says loudly, "Come back to bed." Wife gets pissed, but it's unprofessional for me to fight with her on the phone in front of a new recruit, so I kinda cut her short and said I had to go. My intention was to smooth it over later. I also BTW told my new girl that wasn't actually funny and it was also inappropriate, and I'd appreciate her holding herself to a higher professional standard in dealings with people related to our business in the future. Well, wife wasn't having it when I got home, and eventually in the berating, I said something like, "She's not even attractive. You have nothing to worry about. Anyway, I only love you." She's still pissed but calms down a little and whatever. Then the following week, I'm talking to a few people in my office somewhat informally. I basically told my team to get in here for a second to go over something. I only have 2 chairs besides mine in there, so those are taken. I have 2 people sitting on a low bookshelf in the back, a few leaning against the walls, etc. New girl comes in last, looks around, and sits on the edge of my desk farthest from me. We have our meeting. Everyone leaves but the new girl. She has a question about what I said. Naturally, she turns more towards me as she's talking to me, whatever. Well, that's the moment my wife walks in with my phone charger and a Starbucks for me, so all she sees is the new girl sitting on my desk, leaned in towards me, talking to me. I've never seen my wife act like this, but it was embarrassing. She put the stuff down on the nearest surface and just walked out. Well, I'm not going to chase her. That'll look bad, so I finish talking to NG, then try to call my wife who won't answer. So, I get home later and she's in the shower crying. WTF. I go in the bathroom and pull back the curtain and she's literally sitting in the tub, knees to her chest, crying in the shower. Why? This is ridiculous. So I get pissed off and leave. I call a few work brothers and meet at the bar. Well, fucking luck of all luck, NG shows up with them because 2 of the guys I called were with her already and she's dressed to the nines. She takes a big group selfie shot and posts it on Facebook. Well, guess what? Yup, the wife saw and comments, "Nice to see you having so much fun, /s," to which NG responds, "He's in good hands," and I know that sounds like innuendo but she swears it's not. I talked to NG and she really said that as an assurance, like, "Don't worry, he's in good hands," and didn't even think about the fact it could be misconstrued. Anyway, I get home, more crying from the wife. She says I'm being willfully ignorant and that it's obvious this girl likes me and is stirring trouble and that I'm refusing to see it, or that I must really think she, my wife, is stupid. She asked me if she could look at my phone. Like, are you kidding me? I obviously said no. Then she cried more that I obviously have something to hide, especially cause I lied about NG being attractive. Now for the last 2 days I've gotten complete silent treatment. What the fuck? I haven't done anything wrong. And NG is a good employee. I can't fire her or something for my wife. Like, what the fuck does she want me to do? No one's done anything wrong. TLDR, wife is being crazy jealous over nothing. WTF do I do? And yeah, I hear you, but I really haven't been unfaithful, just a dick. Update. Okay guys. It's clear you all think I'm at best the stupidest person alive and at worst some kind of monster. First off, I would never sleep with NG, and while yes, I can recognize that she's physically attractive by most standards, I am not attracted to her, especially not after all the fucking drama her very existence has been causing me. Secondly, I'm not a bad husband. We've had 8 wonderful years together and have been through some pretty tough things before and come out stronger than ever. I've just never been in a situation like this one before. I'm pretty average looking. In fact, my wife is very attractive and normally, it would be me with insecurities, but I've never made my insecurities her problem. Thirdly, I'm willing to admit some of you may be right about what's going on if it's so obvious to so many people including my wife. I'm not arrogant enough to say you're all wrong and I'm right. I mean, I posted for a reason after all. Finally though, I'm still not sure how to proceed. We don't have an HR as we're still a small office. It's basically my boss, 2 other PPL at my level and our teams, sales PS, the way you guys are talking. I'm a little frightened that this get turned on me if NG wants to be vindictive or something. I haven't done anything inappropriate, but I'm higher up and male, and given how I've apparently fucked this up, how would my wife react if NG tried to allege anything against me for letting her go or something? Relevant comments. Commenter 1. First off, I would never sleep with NG, and while yes, I can recognize that she's physically attractive by most standards, I am not attracted to her. I don't think a single one of us has really said that you are, or would. You're still missing the point. Especially not after all the fucking drama her very existence has been causing me. But you still don't really think that the drama is her fault, do you? You're still blaming your poor wife. If NG tried to allege anything, this is why I think that you should preemptively report her shenanigans to HR yourself. Nip this in the bud now. But you won't because you still don't get it. Reply. What if I have my boss a rundown of what's been happening and we just switch her to another team? She'll still exist in the office, but I won't be working with her anymore. That way she won't try to turn this around. Or should I fire her completely and risk it to prove something to my wife? I mean, I'm willing if that's what it takes. I'm so fucking confused. Commenter 2. Oh, and you should probably do this anyway. But you know your boss better than any of us do. What do you think his reaction would be? Reply. He's a good old boy. He'll probably laugh his ass off at me, or, because he's married to the business, be super pissed I let all this happen. Either way, his first priority will be getting a hold of the business end of this situation because he won't want blowback of any kind. We're buddies though, so even if I get yelled at, I'm not worried about my job. I think I'm going to talk to my wife first though. I might even let her read all this. I just know my boss will take this by the horns, so I want her opinion first so I can be her advocate when having that convo with my boss. Cause I think you're right, and you should probably not be anywhere in the building. I'm still just scared now of blowback with my wife not feeling great about me right now. If NG alleges anything or tries to spread lies, why would my wife believe me? I really truly didn't realize what NG was doing until taking a thrashing from all of you. I honestly thought you guys would agree with me that my wife was overreacting, and at worst, this series of events was unfortunate, but she should trust me. I feel like such a fucking loser. I know you think I'm an asshole puts, but you've been patient in explaining this to me. Commenter 3. This is just, you realize that you're still being me, right? Your wife was sobbing on hands and knees in the shower. There is a damn good chance you have lost her already. If it were me, I'd have a bag packed before you got home from work today, and make sure to turn out all the lights on my way out. You have to apologize. You have to crawl, because at this point you don't deserve anything that looks like forgiveness. I'm so sorry, I was a colossal moron and I don't know what I can do to make it up to you, is where you start, and from there, you have to listen to the answer, and if the answer is, go away, you're gonna have to accept that too. Reply. Go away. Seriously? I never fucked this girl. I've never even flirted with her. The crying in the shower thing, yeah, that was fucking stupid. Out of all of it, I feel the most bad about that because I did have control over that. No one was watching. There are no excuses, but our relationship to fall apart after 8 years over a sequence of events that have only been over about 3 to 4 weeks. That's a bit extreme, don't you think? I need to know what to do next so I don't keep fucking up on both fronts. Begging for forgiveness is a good start. I just wish I understood this more. I hear what all of you are saying and I can understand how it looks, but I just wish I really understood how all this happened. Update. Okay, well, I've been talking to my wife off and on all day since I posted, been echoing some of your sentiments and apologizing, trying to be empathetic, but she really isn't too interested in anything I have to say, although is actually speaking to me nonetheless. So I guess that's something. I have NG an assignment that requires her to be mostly out of the office and in the field next couple days under supervision of someone else, so we shouldn't really have contact for now while this is getting sorted. Going home now. I'd say wish me luck, but I doubt you will. I'll update later. Update. It went about as well as could be expected. I explained that I really didn't get the whole situation, but that I do now. I showed her this thread. I apologized and told her I was willing to do whatever I could to make this right. I reassured her over and over and over again that I didn't cheat on her. She's not sure she believes me about cheating or sincerely understanding what I've done wrong, but in any case, she's incredibly hurt. After much discussion and tears and begging from me, this is what she wants from me. Space, she wants me to move out for a while and she doesn't have a set time for when I can come back. Counseling, for both of us as a couple and separately. She says this incident isn't the first time that I've been unable to see things from her point of view and have hurt her as a result, and not only that but she feels she needs help trusting me again. Like many of you, she thinks, putting it mildly, that NG needs to go away, far far away, and she wants me to tell NG why and wants to be able to listen, and somehow I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. I feel like does cross some sort of line professionally, whether I'm willing or not. Finally, she said she doesn't know what's going to happen with us even if I do all these things. She cried a lot, which isn't surprising. I feel awful and scared and really fucking stupid. I love my wife. I haven't done a good job of showing it lately. I realize that now, but I really don't want to lose her. I'll be speaking to my boss tomorrow about how best to deal with this as far as letting her go or transferring her or something. Wife wants her fired. Period. I'll see what I can do. I'm in a motel right now. I spoke to my father and he pretty much told me I'm an idiot and to do whatever it takes to fix this. My parents are very fond of my wife. Thanks again guys. I didn't know how bad this was. God only knows how much worse this would have gotten. Relevant comments. OOP when told NG should be fired. I'm aware she should be fired. If you've read all my posts in this thread, I figured this out. I spoke with my boss today after first making sure I truly hadn't done something inappropriate with her. He has agreed she needs to go. You have to understand that the culture of our small office is very informal. We all make off-color jokes and rag on each other and good around, but at the same time, our images are important. I may joke around with you and be your buddy outside of work, but make no mistake, I should appear to you to also be serious about the business and have my shit together. That's why I don't like scenes or letting on about troubles in my personal life. My wife has always understood how this works. That's why when that first very inappropriate joke was made, I tried not to make much of it. I thought it possible that NG, having seen how the office camaraderie works, just thought she was being funny but failed. So as I said, I spoke to her about that being inappropriate but didn't make it a huge deal. I also thought given my wife's knowledge of how the office works and her being exposed to it before that she might be overreacting, a major fail and error. I know that now. I was seeing the things going on as isolated events, all with explanations, not as one entire fuck around like it actually was. I'm very embarrassed by my oversight as a professional and extremely sorry as a husband. The part about letting her go that is tough is that she is a good employee in the sense that she hits and exceeds all her sales targets and is very well liked and considered a hard worker. It will be very obvious exactly why she's getting fired given that now that I have a grasp of this situation for what it is, I fear, and my boss agrees, that she may the type of person to make her termination messy. Given we're a newer office, this is problematic. My boss believes we were being baited from the start and that she not only knew what she was doing but that it probably had little to do with me and more to do with her trying to set herself up for something or create some sort of sordid leverage. I have no idea. All I know is I have to fix this immediately but carefully. But the wife doesn't want careful, she wants swift, decisive action. She can save her. I get that, I do, but that is the part I'm trying to figure out now. OOP on the legality of recording the firing or the firing itself. Not in a state. I don't reside in the US. We don't think she has a legal leg to stand on. It's the court of opinion and the company's rep we're worried about. I told my boss if it came to that I'd leave. I hope that's not the case though, as my wife got me this job and despite this incident has been proud of my work here. I was injured a few years ago and couldn't work my labor job. She knew a higher up here and got my foot in the door with no experience. I'd hate to leave as a disgrace with nothing else on my resume for this field of work. It would be very hard to continue leading the lifestyle we do. Commenter 2. Jesus, and your wife got you the job. Well, it's all well and good, but your marriage should absolutely come first. So, you're firing NG? When? Reply. When she comes into the office after being in the field today, the boss will be present. We've decided to just get it over, quick, like ripping off a band-aid, deal with fallout if there is any. As it comes she will be told why, and I'm going to record it on my phone for my wife, but I'll have to make sure I delete it right after. I'm going by our place tonight to grab a few more things, so I'll show her then. By the way, for those who may be curious, my boss was pretty exasperated with me and told me very firmly not let anything like this happen again, because if I can't control my team members I shouldn't be in my position. He admitted our personal friendship saved me here and that I get just one, and this was it. Update. Late reply. I know, but it was a day. NG took her firing okay. She did heavily deny that her intention was not to be inappropriate. She also expressed some upset that it was unfair since other people in the office make jokes too. My boss spoke up at that point to say that others don't make jokes like that and that I had already warned her once about being inappropriate in that particular regard. Again, she denied that her comment about me being in good hands was anything other than an innocent mistake. Again, my boss stepped in and said that as a new employee, she was still under probation and therefore, he could dismiss her without explanation if he wanted, and that he just did not feel she was a good fit. He threw the ball back to me, so to speak, and asked if I agreed, and I said yes, we were in agreement. She just sort of shrugged and said, well, I don't know what to say then, goodbye. I guess, and then as she collected her things and left, she threw a pot shot at me that, in my dreams she'd be interested in me. My wife listened to the recording. I don't think it was what she wanted. She seemed disappointed. I think she wanted me to really tell NG off good, and maybe I should have. But my boss was involved and we were trying to get rid of NG without rocking the business. Wife was happy though that NG is gone, but then got kind of weird. I was confused because I thought that's what she wanted. She ended up crying and basically said that she was still scared that I'd see NG, especially with me staying at a motel. Who knows what I'm doing? She doesn't know what to think anymore with me out of the house. She has to trust me, but right now she doesn't trust me, so I said there was nothing to worry about, like my saying that mattered in any way. And that if she wanted I'd stay at the house, but in our spare room or something. That wasn't good either cause she doesn't want me there right now, so I just admitted that I really didn't know what to do. Then she said she didn't even know what she wants either. I ended up taking a beat to call my parents and asked if I could stay with them for a while. They said that was okay. My wife liked that arrangement more as well, I guess because then I'm supervised. I tried not to be insulted by that because I know I'm in the wrong here, so I should just take it. While sitting on the couch talking, watching her cry, she asked me to just hold her. I had tried to earlier, but she pushed me away anyway, so I held her. Then we ended up kissing the neck, etc. I'll let you fill it in. But I was kicked back out shortly after to pack my things from the motel and go to my parents. She said she still loves me of course, but that she's still pissed off and hurt and unsure of things regardless of what happened tonight, and seeing how hurt she is, and being so scared of not having her anymore. I'm really getting how much I've sucked lately, and not even just in this scenario. She's been really patient with me and I've been fucking up. I reread my original post and I'm actually embarrassed at how selfish I've been. Stories number 16. My sister seems to think she's entitled to my trust fund and lied to try and get it. There's a bit of backstory to this, and I'm not sure what's relevant, but I'm sure you'll tell me if I blather on too much. Mostly I just need to rant. My 38F family is a little messed up. I essentially have had 5 parents and 3 different groups of siblings. It's a bit much. As a child, I was living in the US with my adoptive parents and a lot of shit went down that wasn't great. So I moved back to the UK when I was 9. I had a lot of trauma and the beginnings of a rather serious drug problem, and so my US dad set up a trust for me before he died so that anything mental health related was paid for and I didn't have to stress about being able to sort myself out as I got older. It's been rather handy over the last 30 years. Paying for a home when I was a teenager, therapy, rehab, basically anything needed to help me not die. At some point in my teenage years, I made contact with my biological parents and their other kids, and was welcomed back into the fold. Some of my full siblings had issues with this, fair enough. It was a big change to everyone's lives. My little sister, now early 30s, apparently found it particularly hard, and so we've never got along and have been NC for almost a decade. This has become particularly apparently in recent weeks after she contacted the solicitors who are in control of the trust, pretending to be from a rehab facility in the US. She sent them an invoice for a 3-month stay, requesting payment to the bank account of a friend of hers in the US. The first I heard about this was a phone call from said solicitors offering their commiseration that I was due to enter the facility, wishing me luck and double-checking the details. I am livid. This is tens of thousands of pounds that she's tried to steal from me, money that she has absolutely no right to. She never met my adoptive parents, she's not owed any money from them, she's lived a perfectly normal life with both of her parents, her other siblings, holidays, uni paid for, no big dramas, and she thinks she can just take from me because she wants to buy a house and thinks I should help her out because I ruined her childhood. Except she can't even just ask, she has to try and steal it. I have no idea what to do about this, because if I go to the police then it'll create even more drama in the family that I could do without, and I feel like that's exactly what she wants. Our parents will side with her, and she knows it. I don't want to give her the satisfaction, but I'm just so mad that she chose this specific way to try and take what's not hers. It feels like such a low blow. Obviously she's getting sweet FA, but WTF. ETA, because a few people have asked. My father had to bail me out of a shitty situation a couple years ago, which included getting a flight to another country to come and get me. Obviously I insisted he accept reimbursement for his flights despite him not needing the money, so he would have had the details of my solicitors and the fund from that time. My sister often visits my parents, so I suspect she would have seen the information in my dad's office at some point. I've certainly never mentioned the fund to any of my siblings. Stories number 17. Aita for not paying my parents' mortgage after my sister moved in. For the past 8 years, I, 32M, have been paying my parents' property taxes and mortgage. They are retired and have very little retirement savings because they put all their money into my sister, 29F, and I's education. We both went to top universities and found successful jobs afterwards. I felt like I owed my parents for all they sacrificed for me, so it was a no-brainer to help them retire with no financial stress. My parents did not consult my sister about splitting these costs with me, Instead, the agreement was that I would get a larger share of the house. Fast forward to now, my sister unfortunately lost her job last year and as a result, doesn't have much savings. She moved in with my parents to save money while she looks for a job. I recently found out that my sister pitched staying permanently in my parents' house, and my parents agreed. I was furious at this, because I had been paying for the house with the understanding that it would be sold and I would get a larger share. It is very likely my sister never sells the house and instead raises her eventual family there because the original agreement with my parents changed. I stopped paying for the mortgage, leaving it up to my sister to take care of if she's taking over the house. My parents are furious with me, saying I'm too money obsessed and should be continuing to help the family while my sister is in a tough spot still looking for a job instead. They are promising that eventually my sister will pay me out for my share of the house plus whatever else I contributed over 8 years. I turned that offer down because there's no real guarantee this will happen and I don't trust my sister to follow through financially. I may be the asshole for taking such a cynical stance and leaving my family in financial stress, but I feel like I was already burned once through verbal agreements and I don't want to get burned again. Aita Reddit. My sister is fully opposed to selling the house because of the sentimental value. I'm not on the deed because when you put someone else on the deed in CA, your house is reassessed and it will double our current property tax. There are also some implications to my parents' social security payments if I do so. I wish I got something in writing, but I felt like an asshole asking for something like that from my family. It was naive of me to think that way. Stories number 18. I think my friend is attracted to my boyfriend. About a year ago, my boyfriend, 26M, and I, 23F, moved to a new state. We've met amazing friends and truly love our life here. However, I've been having these weird feelings about one of the girls in my friend group, 23F, and I want to make sure I'm not overthinking things. She's married to an older man, 35M, but she's been very unhappy in her marriage since I met her. She rushed into the relationship, and he's not even her type. He's bald, heavier, and not someone she's naturally attracted to. She's beautiful and could honestly do better. I know she and I have the same type, which happens to look a lot like my boyfriend. She's also been through a lot. When she was 18 or 19, her cousin basically stole her first fiance, married him, and had kids with him. That trauma really stuck with her. I love having her as a close friend, but I can't shake this weird feeling that she's attracted to my boyfriend. It's not something I've felt with any of my other friends. Whenever we're in a group setting, I catch her looking at him here and there, and it gives me an uncomfortable feeling. I know she's deeply unhappy in her own relationship, and sometimes when I talk about my boyfriend, how amazing he is, how he pays for our bills, or how he's supportive, she gets this look on her face, like she's longing for a man like that. To be clear, I don't have concrete evidence of anything inappropriate. She doesn't dress inappropriately around him or openly flirt. It's more of a gut feeling based on her body language and her situation. Not to mention her and my BF are very similar and have a lot of the same interests. She's almost like the girl version of my boyfriend, which is probably why I like her so much. What scares me is her history. I worry she's capable of doing something similar to what was done to her years ago. I've also seen her get very close to cheating on her now husband during a girls' night out. It shocked me because she claims to be religious, like my boyfriend, and presents herself as super moral. That also made me question what else she's capable of. I'm worried feelings might develop there over time if I keep her around close. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know if I should listen to my gut and distance myself, or if I'm overthinking. I value our friendship, but I don't fully trust her around my boyfriend, and it's eating at me. What should I do? Stories number 19. I almost got robbed, but I knew the guy's mom. Walking back from my work, the streets were mostly empty and suddenly a guy came out of nowhere with a gun, a grown man, bigger than me, telling me to give him all my stuff. I recognized him. He was the son of one of my neighbors. She talked to me about him and showed me some photos. One day after I gave him my wallet, I said, "Is your mom MS name?" The shock in that man's eyes when I said that. "You know my mom? She's my neighbor." He gave me back my stuff, then said, "Please don't tell her about this," in the most nervous tone, and just walked away. Stories number 20. People at work found out about my divorce. I'm not really one to go around sharing my problems. I picked up more shifts at my morning job to help pay for rent and not having a car since my ex took it. So suffice to say, I'm pretty burned out. I don't get much sleep and most people at work can tell. Sometimes people would ask me questions about what's wrong, but I wouldn't really say I couldn't take it anymore, so I went outside to cry. I'm usually good about holding off my tears, but it became too much. This beautiful soul of a coworker came out because she noticed I told her about my wife and partner of 6 years leaving, and she just listened and held me while I spoke. Today she brought me some chili she made just to make sure I had food to eat. It made me tear up instantly. That was such an insanely nice thing to do and helped me out so much. I gave her a long hug and told her how grateful I am for that kindness in such a tough time. Stories number 21. Wife got me the gift I said I didn't want. So I had a birthday 2 months ago. Wife asked for ideas for presents, so I gave her several. Later on she asked if I would like a coffee maker, and I said no, I drink instant coffee. I told her I had a coffee maker in the past, Keurig, that routinely broke down, that I constantly had to fix. It became a chore also. My MIL has given me a Yeti for Christmas for the past 5 years. I never use them. I even asked my wife to explain to my MIL so my collection would end. Then comes my birthday. I open my 2 gifts. It's a Keurig coffee maker and a Yeti, both gifts from my wife. I told her to give me the receipts so I could return them. Ada. Stories number 22. My boyfriend's hygiene is terrible and I'm starting to realize he's a textbook loser. Advice received. Hi. I know the title seems a bit brutal, but I'm really trying to not be, as I do still love him, which is also why I'm coming on to here anonymously to talk about this. So, me and my boyfriend are long distance dating and we're both under the age of 18, so we have had a plan to meet up with each other and move in together when we're both 18. I'm 15 as of now and he's 16 for starters. Now he's a really great guy, like partner-wise, he's everything a girl could ask for. Anyways, since we are long distance I haven't seen him in person, but even then I don't think you could easily tell what his hygiene is like though. About a week ago I was just complaining about my smile and how I really just wanted perfect teeth, and he was being sweet as per usual, saying things like, "Your teeth are perfect," and then, "Look at mine. They are way worse," and he sent pics of them and told me how some are rotting, and I also saw hard tartar build up on some of his teeth. Now he did tell me before that his parents haven't taken him to the dentist since he was 4 and that he was super depressed when he met me, so haven't took care of his teeth, but I didn't realize it was like this. He told me how he doesn't brush his teeth so casually as well. See, I know it is not his fault, it's his parents for being so neglecting, but at the same time I'd assume a 16-year-old boy should know that you have to brush every day. I don't even think I want him to kiss me with that mouth now, and this may be a little explicit, but I don't want him going down on me with that mouth either. Not only this, but he barely showers as well, since I see him in the same clothes for days over, and the one time I seen him shower, we were on FaceTime, I'm pretty sure he put his same dirty clothes back on and I saw how his drawers looked and it was diabolical. Yet he put those on too while he was in the shower. I also had to tell him how to wash himself correctly as well as correctly as he could with what he had. Now for the rest of why I say he's a loser. He is actually so dumb, brutal, I know, but it's been a concerning thing for me for a while. He's told me he never tried in school and always had Fs, and the only time he got As was at the end of middle school so he could pass into high school, but even then he told me he just cheated the whole time. Now he's in junior year and he doesn't even know how to do basic school work that literally walks you through it. Even I did some of his school work easily, whereas he was giving up and saying it's too hard. Anyways, he has such bad grades in school that his counselor said he wouldn't graduate unless he gets in this special homeschool program, and now he's in it, but he said the work is too hard and just got his mom to do it for him. He gives up on everything and is just so whiny that it's pathetic sometimes, like when I say something to him that is even the slightest bit harsh, and it's not even to be mean, it's to help him. He'll just get in a ball and start whining, or sometimes he'll start hitting himself and whine too. He has no goals or ambitions and he just plays games all day, and even though he's ideal-wise in a partner, except for his whiny areas. I need someone who can provide for me. Yes, I am looking to providing as well, but I cannot be the sole provider. This is the kind of guy I know my dad wouldn't let stand in a 100-foot radius from me, and to be honest, I know I deserve better for myself too, though he is one of the sweetest guys I know and I feel like I can help him be better. I'm not trying to be a babysitter at the same time. Also, I'm scared to tell him any of this because he is so sensitive and would overreact at just a squeal. I'm scared that if I ever told him these things or broke up with him, he'd end it all, so now I feel obliged to stay with him and keep withholding everything I want to say to him. I just don't know what to do about any of this, guys. Summary. My boyfriend is a loser all around and how to fix him, but he's the perfect partner minus all that. I also feel like I deserve better, but at the same time I'm scared of what saying this to him would do. Stories number 23. To fool by telling my sister's fiance something I wasn't supposed to know. Okay, so here's some context. My sister got engaged a few months ago to this really sweet guy who we all adore. A couple of weeks ago, I overheard her talking to our mom about how she wasn't sure if she wanted to go through with the wedding because she felt like they were rushing into things too quickly. She made me swear not to say anything, and I didn't, until yesterday. Her fiancé came over while she was out running errands, and we were just chatting casually when he asked me if I thought they were moving too fast without thinking, and because I'm apparently incapable of keeping secrets, I blurted out something like, "Well, you're not the only one who feels that way." His face dropped immediately. When my sister got back home later that day, he confronted her about what I said. Now they're having these long, serious conversations behind closed doors, and my sister is furious with me for opening my big mouth. I felt bad, but on the other hand that was my opinion and fear, honestly. Fair enough. I did have doubts about her engagement when her fiancé asked me for advice. Now their relationship might be in trouble. TLDR, accidentally spilled the beans. Now I don't know what is going to happen. Stories number 24. It's tragic and sobering that scientists still haven't found the cure for ass hair. I'm young, hopeful, and college-educated. I have friends and family that love me from the outside. My life looks peachy, but I carry a horrible burden. I have a truly heinous amount of S hair, just shocking amounts of thick, dark hair growth in the crack, on the cheeks. I think there's even some fuzz on my taint in the dead of night. I battle it alone. But shaving only staves it off for so long. It seems as if 90% of my body's energy goes towards maintaining the Stygian garden that calls my ass home. What recourse do I have? Nair. Never, unless I wanted to irreparably fry my whole waxing. Then I'd have to bear my greatest shame in the face of some poor unsuspecting beautician. If only there were some pill, some medication I could take to tame the jungle way below, but our broken healthcare system will never cater to the needs of myself and the many other disenfranchised, hairy-assed women suffering in silence sometimes. It's all I can do not to give up all hope. Stories number 25. Aita for telling my mom if her 3-month BF moves in we move out. Hi everyone, I just feel torn and I hope this could help me on how to handle this going forward so I do not lose my mom. So my mom and dad had me at a very young age, my mom 17 and my dad 19. It was pretty tough especially back in the day, but we all made it work somehow. But when I was 12 my dad got a heart attack and died, and it just left me and my mom. Ever since my dad she has had 2 serious guys, but it never worked out because she always said, "No one can compare to your dad," until now. I am married and my mom lives up at the coast in a very small town, the kind where the only shop for groceries is a small convenience store. My husband and I got into some financial issues and my mom said we should move in with her so we can get back on our feet. I was skeptical at first because it is obviously not ideal, but my mom with her kind heart said, "I can see you feel bad about it. Don't, life is hard enough and parents are there to lift their children up and catch them when they fall. You need to come back home and regroup and gather back strength, so life is not that hard on you." Now my mom lives in a small coast property that she rents, the type of place that looks like a 1-bedroom cabin from the outside. Well, it's a 3-bedroom and 1 bathroom and walls are thin, the Wi-Fi is rocky because of the coast and all the wind, and my husband works remotely in IT, so it's definitely not ideal, but we are making it work. Well, we have been here 20 days now and it was going so good it felt like a dream, but yesterday my mom calls me. A guy she dated last year proposed to her and she hasn't given an answer yet, but she told him and his 16-year-old they are welcome to move in a couple of hours after. She came back home all excited, but the smile quickly faded when I started asking questions. Nothing unreasonable, just the logical ones that got our heads spinning, like, how could you ask him to move in after one phone call of catching up after 3 months of dating a year before? How are we all going to live here? She got defensive and I tried explaining that I'm just worried about her and that it all feels a bit impulsive. A few hours of everyone just keeping out of each other's faces, my mom came to me asking if I would take a ride with her to the convenience store on the road. She asked if I really am just worried about her. Of course. You are my mom and it would have been the same if the roles were reversed. Then she asked me, well, what do you want me to say? I responded saying, I want you to say you didn't just do something that impulsive without giving it some thought. Then she said, it's my house, you're not going to be dictating what is allowed and who is allowed in my house. I agree, but you invited your daughter and son-in-law to come and live with you in already cramped space to help us, and not even 20 days later you want to move a man in with his 16-year-old son, and after only 3 months of dating the previous year. And then you come to us informing us about it. I'm not saying you should have asked permission, but a discussion would have been kind. It was total silence from there on to the convenience store and back home. When I got home I told my husband what happened and he said I better go ask forgiveness for speaking so out of line. You can't tell a grown woman what to do. She raised you by herself and we can't expect her to put her life on hold for us. Even if a discussion would have been the right thing to do, I thought about it a while and decided he is right, it was out of line of me, and so I apologized, but it did not go as I thought it would. It's kind of you to apologize, but it wasn't necessary. You just expressed your worry and I have to respect that because you are my daughter, but he is special and I am not going to rescind my offer and I will not ask permission. If he wants to come he is coming, and that's that. I just stood there dumbfounded. How could she be so obtuse about it, not even understanding that she is putting us in an uncomfortable situation as well? I just said, that's fine, you can make your own decisions in life, but we all cannot live here, and so if they move in we will move out. It would be the best thing for all. Oh come on honey, you are being a bit rash now. You don't need to move out, we will make it work. You need to sort out your things. No mom, it's not rash, we can't all live here. If the house was bigger it would have been different, but 5 people in a 3-bedroom 1-bathroom cabin is a bit much and unrealistic. If you think it'll work, my husband also needs to work, and where will he work then? Maybe you both need to just think about this some more and get back to me. And that was that. Ever since my mom is acting like nothing happened, going on as usual. Am I just being an ungrateful child or a jerk of a daughter? I just feel like this is all too strange and I worry about her and this whole plan is just crazy. Am I a jerk? Edit. I have never met this man or his child. I never even knew his name until this all came up when she called me all excited. She said, Mike proposed, which left me stating the obvious, who is Mike? Stories number 26. Are most men attracted to fit women? 27F. I love the gym and it's probably my favorite hobby. I was naturally super skinny as a kid, so for me lifting weights has been a really great way to gain some shape and muscle. I have a long, lean, athletic type of physique, with a booty now. I eat a lot of calories and lifting weights because I've always wanted to get a thicker, but it's not in my genetics. I'm super happy with my physique and all the progress I've made. I always hear guys saying they like a thick queen with fluff around the edges. This seems to be trending right now. Just wondering, is the fit girl look still attractive to you guys today? Edit. To clarify, even though I lift weights, I'm not one of those super jacked women with bulging muscles. I have a hard time gaining muscle, so visibly I just have some nice muscle tone and definition. Stories number 27. Should I expose my ex-friend's behavior to her partner or let it go? I'm feeling really conflicted and need advice. About a year ago, I was part of a close group of girlfriends, but everything fell apart. It started with one of them, Sarah, 35F, fake names used. On her birthday we all went to a nice dinner, and when everyone else left, I stayed with Sarah because she wanted to keep drinking. We went to a club, and Sarah started ignoring calls from her partner, Michael, who was at home with their baby. Things got worse when Sarah began flirting with a guy at the bar, and it got physical enough to make me uncomfortable. I tried to tell her it wasn't right, but she brushed me off out of frustration. I recorded what was happening, not to use against her, but to show how bad the night had gotten. I finally got her into an Uber, and on the ride, I confronted her. I told her Michael deserved better and that she needed to think about her family instead of listening. She lashed out, saying horrible things about me, that I'd let myself go, was ruining group photos, and that I'd never have a family of my own. She claimed the other girls had said the same things about me. When we got home, Michael showed up with their crying baby, handed it to Sarah, and left. Sarah was too drunk to care for the baby. The next day, she texted me, saying she couldn't remember anything. I didn't bring up what she'd said or the video. I just told her everything was fine to avoid more drama. A few weeks later, we went on a group trip to Sorrento, and things were tense. I felt like they didn't want me there. I'd arranged a dog sitter, but Sarah brought her baby and mom, and another girl brought her dog. When I mentioned bringing my dog to save money, they were against it. When I arrived, the other girl's dog was there anyway. The trip was awkward. I was given a top bunk while someone who hadn't even paid got a proper bed. There were misunderstandings, and it felt like they were looking for reasons to criticize me. The next morning, I left early, and afterward, I got condescending messages like, "Sorry you felt that way." Since then, we haven't spoken, but I've heard through mutual friends that they're still talking about me, calling me a crazy dog lady, and making it seem like I'm the reason the group fell apart. They don't know I have the video of Sarah at the bar or that I remember everything she said to me that night. Part of me wants revenge. My sister thinks I should send the video to Michael, but I feel conflicted. I don't want to ruin their family, but I'm so angry and hurt. I know it's petty, but I want them to feel the way they made me feel. Reddit, what should I do? Should I let it go and move on? Or is it fair to expose the truth, even if it feels vindictive? Stories number 28. I 25F just watched my partner 25M yell at his mom over an Amazon package delivery. For context, we've been together for 4 years, currently staying with his mom to save for a house, but I just witnessed what I think to be a glaring red flag. An Amazon guy came to the door with a package that required a one-time code, so she came down, said the Amazon guy is here. I've been calling and texting, and he just exploded on her, slammed the door and said, "Do you see how she talks to me? She's impossible." I tread very lightly on their conflicts because I have had disagreements with my mom, but we always resolved them and ultimately apologized. I wouldn't want to insert my own experience into his relationship with his own mom, but it was almost scary the way he spoke to her over what I thought was nothing. I said to him I didn't think she said anything bad, and he goes, "It's just her tone," which even if she had a tone, she's his mom. She deserves respect in her home. She's nice enough to let us live in. We do pay her rent. I've always heard that how a man treats his mother is a reflection of how he's learned to treat women, but what do you think? Immediately after, I went up to apologize to his mom, who was furious but also in tears, and still got the package for him. Stories number 29. I, 29F, am seriously considering leaving my husband, 34M, with a 4-month-old. I never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am, feeling completely lost and heartbroken. I'm seriously considering leaving my husband, and I just need to vent or get some advice. I know I'm not perfect, but I've done everything I can to be a good mom and wife. I went back to work full-time and often work late into the night, yet I still do my best to feed my baby, spend quality time with her, and wake up for her at night. On top of that, I'm dealing with emotional pain from my parents' marriage. My father has always treated my mother poorly, and it's devastating to see. I promised myself I'd never let myself end up in a similar situation. But here I am. I married someone who speaks to me so rudely and even curses at me. During our last argument, he went as far as telling me that my daughter will hate me like everyone else, and even called me ugly as F*******. Those words cut so deep. Hate is a big word, and I don't think I know anyone who truly hates me. In fact, I can't think of anyone who does the way he said it. Made me realize that's probably a feeling he has inside toward me, and he just let it out in that cruel way. I believe only someone who hates you can say something that vile. I've rarely experienced hatred in my life, but for the first time, I'm starting to understand what it feels like with my own husband. The thought that one day my daughter might understand and witness her father treating me this way gives me chills. I've worked so hard my entire life, academically and professionally, to achieve the things I have today, yet when it comes to my personal life, I feel like I've completely failed. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. I've forgiven him many times, first because I was pregnant, and now because we have a baby. But with every argument, I fall more and more out of love. I can feel the day coming when I won't be able to take it anymore. I don't want to give up too soon, but I also don't want to stay in a situation that feels so toxic and unhealthy. For me and my daughter, has anyone been through something similar? How do you even start figuring out what to do next? I feel like I've tried everything, but nothing changes. Any advice would mean the world to me. Thank you. Stories number 30. Co-worker ran out after sex. I, 26M, have not been in a relationship for 4 Y. Haven't gotten the courage to ask anyone out. A new girl came to work with my company, 24F. She started to make jokes about being together with me and acting fake jealous when I talked to other females. I started sending meme and videos to her for a few months but never talked to her outside of work. One day she messaged me privately and said that she actually liked me. I told her that I did not want to be in a relationship because of my depression and mental issues. 2 weeks after that we had a company party. She ignored me the entire time. Then in the night she texted me she to fuck me, and I, being as down bad as I am, said I wanted to do her too. She agreed to come to my place. A week later she came over. We did it for 1 round. She said it felt good. 2nd round she gets up and goes to the bathroom, then saves her mom is calling her and she had to rush home. She had already told her mom she'd be out for the night. Next day she asked me if I was mad she left. I said no and told her she can make it up to me next time. She told me there will not be a next time because it was not right, and that we are co-workers now. I'm not sure what to feel about it, don't know if I should feel used or it's just how things are in the dating world. Stories number 31. Aita, for losing my shit and screaming at my GF to get out of my house after what her stepbrother did. GF was over at my place 2 days ago. We're both 20. She has a stepbrother who's 23. Before this I'd only met him a few times and he seemed like a regular dude. She asked if it was okay for him to come over too for a couple of hours. I said why not. He said he would get booze and pizza. And my parents were away visiting relatives for the weekend, so I figured we could shoot the shit. I have a little sister who's 15. They came over, and she stayed up in her room the entire time. We were all a bit tipsy and my GF stepbrother asked if he could use the washroom. I pointed him to the one down the hall. My GF and I were preoccupied and didn't even realize how much time he was taking until we heard raised voices upstairs. We immediately went up to check what was going on and found my sister crying. Dude had gone up instead of using the washroom. My sister's door had been ajar, so he apparently walked into her room. All details I managed to wrangle from my crying sister. BTW, she was taken by shock and was trying to stay calm, but he wasn't leaving. He was trying to chat her up. She told him to GTFO and he closed the door behind him instead, which is why she started freaking out. She tried to get past him to open the door and he grabbed her, but she managed to open it anyway. I'd reached the landing by then, so he backed off. Obviously I was super fucking pissed. There was a lot of screaming going on, lots of accusations. We were all drunk except for my sister. After getting the story from her, GF's stepbrother was stuttering and deflecting. I'm pretty sure I threatened violence at some point. My GF was trying to be the mediator. She said I had to calm down and couldn't fly off the handle based off word of mouth, but I was there. I saw my sister crying in panic. I know what she's like and I know she wouldn't lie about something like this. Why would she? I told her stepbrother to get out of my house. My GF kept saying we could sort this out and have a proper conversation, but I didn't see what conversation was there to be had. Eventually she said what if my sister was lying in front of my sister's face. I asked her what on earth would make her think that, and she said she's a kid and could be making it up for attention like the title said. I lost my shit. I told her to get the fuck out and afterward she kept calling me, but I ignored everything. The dust has settled a bit. I went over everything again with my little sister. She promised me it had happened the way she was telling me. She told me she was scared he was going to SA her. My GF texted me this morning saying I shouldn't have raised my voice like that and I scared her. I thought of apologizing then, but she still hadn't said a word about apologizing to my sister or addressing the issue with her stepbrother. I only replied that we had to talk, and she said there's nothing to talk about, there's no hard proof, in her words, and the stepbrother ended up doing nothing, so she told me she would deal with him, and I should drop it. If I'm the asshole for the way I handled this, maybe if cooler heads prevailed this silent treatment wouldn't have happened and we could have discussed everything. What to do from now on. Either I love that girl, I don't want us to be over, so I want some advice on where to go from here too. Commenter 1, NTA, protect your sister and maybe have a big long talk with GF. If she doesn't understand, then reevaluate your relationship. Reply, I'm definitely not losing sleep over the way I treated the stepbrother. I think I should have done worse and could have done worse, but I just wanted him out of the house. I'm pissed because over these 2 days, all her texts were about how she felt and how I could have handled this better, and she's never seen this side of me. Which is all true, but when I messaged her back to ask about her bro, her response was effectively, drop it, I can't believe she's being so callous about this. Commenter 2, she is showing you who she really is, someone who only cares about herself. She is not a good choice for a partner and never will be unless she miraculously develops self-awareness and empathy, which is unlikely. Reply. Ironically, she advocates for SA survivors in her campus and college town. I've been with her for 1.5 years and she's into volunteering at women's shelters and everything. I was fucking blindsided by this and her response to it. It's a learning experience and it's really unfortunate that my sister was caught up in it. Commenter 3, so why are you still determined to be in a relationship with her? God forbid next time he does manage to actually assault your sister, what then? Why would you open up that possibility of harm to your sister? Reply. I agree, the comments have been very helpful and pushed me over the edge. I've decided I'm going to break up with her. I don't know if it's worth it pursuing legal action/police regarding her stepbrother, but I'll see depending on how my sister feels about it. You needs to reevaluate the relationship with his GF regarding the stepbrother. Reply. Thank you for this comment. It was nice reading my feelings put into words. Nothing actually happened, but even if my sister wasn't freaked out and crying, I'd tell him to leave just because he went upstairs and into her room. I'm hoping it's just my GF defending family, but some other comments made me realize, even if she does come around, I can't have a future with her without this asshole being there always, and I won't do that to my sister, so I'm seriously thinking of asking her to meet in person so I can have a proper talk, and then call things off. Commenter 4, NTA. Break up with your girlfriend and protect your sister. The GF is an enabler. I know she has had to see or sense the creep before. Buttered_crumpet09, hey GF, this isn't about you and your feelings. Your adult, drunk stepbrother went into the bedroom of my underage, teenage sister, shut the door behind him, and would not leave. The best thing that I could do was make him leave rather than being appalled and apologetic. You had the audacity to question whether my sister was being honest in front of her, at which point I lost my temper. How could you accuse her of that whilst seeing how upset she was? Even if you had doubts, that wasn't even vaguely the time or place. Since this happened, the only person you've cared about yourself. You want an apology for my being angry and shouting, but not once have you apologized or asked about my sister again. This isn't about you. And I don't think this is going to work out, since I want to protect my underage sister and you want to protect your feelings and your potential predator of a stepbrother. Am I sorry I raised my voice at you? Yes, but if ever a situation warranted it, it was then. And no, you've never seen me like this because I've never been in a position where a grown man shut himself in my sister's bedroom and made her afraid she was going to be SA'd. Now we're done and there's nothing left to say. That's what I'd send to her. She's a shebang, and I bet he's done this shit before. Update. First off, thanks everyone who commented on my previous post linked to original. I tried to read as many comments as I could. I got some great advice. My GF asked me yesterday if we could talk in person. I agreed. We met at a public park. She showed up already looking on the verge of tears. You/buttered_crumpet09, your comment was goat. I basically said it word for word to her. LOL. She let me speak and was silent for a long time. Before she said she was sorry for the way she had reacted, she told me she had been drunk and panicked and hadn't been thinking clearly, and was trying to stop it from becoming a fight. We discussed her stepbrother. She told me he has a weird streak and acts oddly sometimes. She told me he genuinely could have made a mistake and didn't mean any harm. I asked why he'd gone upstairs in the first place, and why he'd shut himself in with my sister on finding out he was in the wrong room. No answer. I asked how was she so sure he had no perverted intentions. No answer. Some of you suggested that the stepbrother might have had a history and even might have done something to her. I didn't outright say it, but I was implying it. I kept saying, what if he had gone further? What if he's assaulted someone before and you don't know about it, etc. I asked if there had been incidents like this before, and how she could possibly downplay what happened. She didn't have anything to say, but again, at that point she was too choked up to speak properly, so I don't think she could have answered even if she wanted to. Anyways, I wasn't there to listen to excuses or justifications, and I told her that she asked me if we were over, and I said the only way we could move forward was if she apologized to my little sister, and then stopped all contact with her stepbrother. I just don't see a scenario where my sister feels comfortable around him again. She told me she didn't want to lose me, but she couldn't do what I asked from her, so I told her yes, we're done. My parents came back this morning. BTW. Like I said, they had been out of town at relatives' place. I hadn't told them about this over the phone. I just said an incident had happened and I would explain when they got back. My sister asked me to speak to them on her behalf and I told them everything. My dad gave me a lot of shit. Rightfully so. He says he wants to speak to my ex's parents about this, let them know what their son did. Police here are about as useful as tits on a bull, but we discussed it and we're going to file a report auto de noticia anyway. I highly doubt it will go anywhere, but at least it will be a record in the system. My sister is doing better. She was really shaken up. She asked if she could sleep in my parents' room or mine for a bit. We will probably arrange a therapy or counseling session for her, and let her decide if she wants to continue. I'm going to take her bowling and then we'll get food, just the two of us, so I can also apologies on my part. 1. Feel upset. I feel guilty actually. I trusted my ex, and me being naive put my little sister in danger. I've always thought I was a responsible person, and this happening when I was supposed to be in charge is fucking me up. I'm pissed at myself. NGL, but we move. My favorite comments to read were the ones telling me what to do to the stepbrother. I don't ever want to see his face again, but in case I do, someone LMK if you have a wood chipper lying around. Thanks again everybody. Edit. Some things people have asked if I can run a background check or something. I don't think it's legal for a civilian to do that in my country, Portugal, and if I can request one. I'll see though. Also to everybody commenting about underage drinking, I was so confused. That's not a problem here LMAO. I won't be incriminating myself or anything by filing a report, so DW. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, I was waiting for this update. LOL. Good on you mate. I still think the creep did something to your ex, which is why she kept deflecting and answering vaguely, saying he acts odd sometimes. Even if he did, it's not your responsibility now though. Your poor baby sister, hopefully she heals quickly from this. Reply, most people seem to think so. I will say, my ex's mother has been with her stepdad for nearly 6 years. She never liked discussing her family and had only recently introduced me to all of them. She never gave any indication of a bad relationship between her and her stepdad/brother. I would have never guessed in a million years if abuse or assault was happening. I hope it's not the case, because that would be seriously fucked up. What could OOP's ex not agree to? Cutting off contact with her stepbrother? Or not apologizing to OOP's sister? Reply, cutting off her stepbrother. TBH, I met her with my mind already made up. I was going to break up with her no matter what. I didn't expect her to stop contact with him, and I was right. She wasn't willing to. It's whatever. It's shitty, but breaking up was the cleanest solution, I think. Editor's note, a couple comments were made in Portuguese. I have them translated as they are relevant to OOP's update. Commenter 3, in Portugal. Unfortunately, complaints like these fall on deaf ears, and when they go to court it seems like they just get a slap on the wrist and go on with their lives. Reply, exactly. Our judicial system is incompetent and unable to deliver justice even in serious cases with physical evidence. In my case, all the evidence is word of mouth, so I have no hope, but I'm going to file a complaint anyway. Commenter 4, you can do a background check in PT, but the other person needs to be there and consent. Just another stupid law among the many we have. Our police will do nothing in your case, unfortunately, but at least there is a regist if someone else's complains about him. Reply, I figured it was something like that, but it's okay even if nothing happens to you now. I don't doubt he'll try something like this again in the future, and it might be easier to convict him later if there's a record. Stories number 32. Am I the asshole for calling my wife a cheater? My wife went to a movie festival with a few of her coworkers. I was supposed to take my daughter to the museum and then pick her up. The museum was closed, so I took her to the movie festival instead. As we were looking for seats, my wife saw us and invited us over. She was sitting in the middle of two of her male coworkers, so she asked me to take the seat behind her. One of the two of her coworkers volunteered to scoot over to allow me to sit next to her. Ever since then she has been pissed off at me. The moment I try to say anything about the movie, she lashes out at me, asking her to not embarrass her before her coworkers by speaking, when all the while, she was laughing and chatting with her male coworkers. I made a joke about a scene, whispered it to her, and she lashed out at me again for embarrassing her with my lame jokes. When her coworker, the one still next to her, made the same joke, she laughed with him. At one point of the movie, she asked for the explanation of a scene. When I tried to explain, she shushed me and went on to take the explanation from the coworker instead. Given that he gave the explanation after I was shushed, I wasn't really interrupting her. When I came home, I accused her of cheating, not physically, but emotionally cheating on me. She called me names and said I was trying to assassinate her character and that I was talking too much and her coworkers were not comfortable bringing family members, etc. I didn't crash her date. She called us over, mind you. Now, I know that she's not sleeping with him and I know that she doesn't even have any feelings for him, but the way she acted made me feel betrayed and cheated on. Aita. Edit 1. Too many comments regarding this. I didn't show up unannounced, nor did even my wife accuse me of spying on her. I was supposed to be there, and she knew I'd be there. I was just supposed to be 2 floors below, at the museum till the movie was over, then we were supposed to head home. Edit 2. Please understand that I am not looking for marriage advice, just wanted to know if I was wrong to call her a cheater when she was not. She's still my wife and I won't stand people disrespecting my wife. Edit 3. People calling me a doormat, whatever. Please understand that I don't take any of it lying down, so much so, that I believe that I disrespected her more than she did to me throughout the marriage. Edit 4. I have access to all her accounts. She really isn't cheating and she's not tech savvy to open her own accounts. She's a biochemist in a science communication career and I'm a CTO. Edit 5. She didn't do any of those in front of her coworkers. They were staring at the screen. I whispered, "That guy came out of an egg." She leaned in and whispered, "Don't embarrass me in front of my coworkers with your stupid jokes." I heard her. No one else did. Things went on like this. I have ADHD and I talk too much anyway, so if my post felt like she screamed in front of everyone and insulted me, nothing like that. Update. We made up and everything is stable for now. Every couple has ups and downs in a relationship. A single fight doesn't make or break it. Just needed an outside perspective to know whether I was overreacting or if my anger and sadness was justified. Update 2. Thank you for all your responses, except for the people who think I made this up. That's just stupid. Just know that any fight would look wrong when heard from just one side of the story. All marriages have fights. All of them have ups and downs. This is just one of them. It wasn't a call for help or relationship advice. Just wanted to know if the cheater label was a bit extreme or not. Aita for calling her a cheater. I am 100% certain she isn't cheating on me. If I even had a bit of a reasonable suspicion, I would be investigating instead of wondering if I am the asshole. But this post took way too much of my time and devolved into calling and saying shit about me and my family. None of you know me or my wife or what kind of dynamics our marriage has or what kind of people we are to assume you wouldn't know if she's cheating on you. She isn't. Wasn't even the question whether she was cheating or not. I am turning off notifications for this post. Thanks for your advice and time. Made me feel good to know that I didn't overreact. Stories number 33. I'm terrible with women. So the other day a random bus passenger was surprised to learn that I'm single. He kept doubting me when I told him I was single. My friend and I were randomly talking to this dude because it was 3 a.m. and we had nothing better to do. A few days later I made a random friend online who helped me fix my Tinder profile and she was like, "You have an alright profile, but after fixing this picture, you should be set." Of course, as every other guy knows, it ain't about the picture. I got 0 likes before and I got 0 likes after. The girl asked me today how my Tinder was doing, so I told her that nothing really happened. She told me that there is no way that her curated profile did not work and that it must be my fault and I must be dry in my texts. I told her I never even got a chance to text anybody and that nobody matched with me, not even that. But nobody even liked me. She didn't believe me until I showed her my profile again. I bring this up because I am so tired of not getting any attention from a woman at all. Apparently, people around me think that I should be doing well, but the truth is, I could not be more alone in that regard. I was at the bar that I work at today. As a patron, I was standing outside with my bouncer friend. He was having a conversation with a girl whose friend I was talking to. About 5 minutes into the conversation I saw the girl come back and ask my friend, "Can I get a kiss?" And they made out for about 2 minutes. That's all he had to do, stand there and talk to her about nothing. Just FYI, the girl was 21, I'm 24, and he's about 48. I'm not saying the conversation he had with her was not interesting. He told me that he was talking about nothing and that it just happened out of nowhere. He told me that he was surprised and that this doesn't happen usually at all. Here I am doing my best, trying to meet women anywhere and everywhere I can to no avail, but all he has to do is stand and make conversation for a minute and a half and he is golden. I'm so frustrated of nothing working out for me that I'm so ready to give everything up. I know people here are just gonna tell me that it's my fault and they're probably right, but I just have no idea what to do with myself. Stories number 34. Aita for telling my wife to stop playing Roblox and do her duties as a parent. My 37F wife and I, 36M, have always tried to keep the housework pretty evenly split between us. I, for example, mow the lawn, and do laundry and dishes, and she meal plans, cooks, and picks up/drops off the kids. Lately, this has all changed because she has become addicted to a game called Dress to Impress on Roblox. If you aren't familiar, it's a game where you have to dress your character in a themed outfit before the time runs out, and the other players rate it from 1 to 5 stars. It started off harmless, just a fun thing she would do during downtime before bed, but recently she has missed crucial appointments and chores because of this game. I tried to be understanding and gently remind her to do her tasks, but she would always say she forgot or got distracted. The big argument happened last night when she forgot to pick up our 9-year-old son from basketball practice, which ended at 6 o'clock. I hadn't gotten home yet as I had to work late, and our son doesn't have a phone, so I had no way of knowing the situation. I eventually got home around 7 o'clock and realized he was not in his room. I looked around further and saw that he was nowhere to be found. I walked into our bedroom, confused, to ask my wife where he was and found her on her iPad playing the game. As always, when I asked her where our son was, her eyes grew wide and I knew what happened without her having to say. I immediately got back into my car and went to pick him up. Luckily, his coach had stayed after to make sure he was picked up safe, and I apologized profusely. Apparently, he had been calling and texting my wife, who was the emergency contact, and she didn't even notice. When we got home I immediately blew up at her. How could she be so addicted to a kid's game that she completely forgot our son? Now, she's telling me it was a one-time thing and that I'm an asshole for getting angry. I don't know what to think. I do kind of understand her side of the story as it has only happened one time, but she has to be a responsible parent. She can't just completely forget about our child who has no way to get home on his own. So, Aita. Stories number 35. Just a girl who wants to rant about her religion. Hi everyone, 20F here and I'm struggling so much with losing my faith. I've been questioning Islam for the last 2 years, but lately I've completely lost all my beliefs. I don't believe that there's a God out there anymore. I genuinely think religion is created to keep people from being free. I hate that I wasted my young years by being scared and never doing anything fun because I was scared of burning in a hell I don't believe in anymore. I'm born and raised in the West, but I'm North African. My family likes to think it's progressive, but it's really not. I hate the comments that they make that I should get married before it's too late, that I'm gonna regret being single at 30 and I'll be a w*****. I hate how they see gay people and make comments about them. Thank God I'm straight. I keep thinking of one of my little cousins being gay and having to grow up in this environment. It makes me so sad and breaks my heart. I hate that I don't even have the courage to speak up about it in their eyes. I'm still the perfect sweet religious girl, but I hate it here. I want to go and live my life freely without someone nagging in my ear about some God that doesn't even exist to me. I hate that if I leave my uncles will talk about how my mom has failed as a single mom and that's why I'm out and will be a whore one day. I hate that I'm close with my cousins and they all think I'm also happy in this religion, when in reality I hate it. I think the best thing for me to do is to just leave without telling anyone I don't believe in Allah anymore, because my family would literally kill me and see me as the biggest disgrace this family has ever seen. Mind you, we have alcoholics, serial cheaters, abusers in our family, but it's okay because they're all man. I'm just really gonna miss my mom. She is the only person that cares for me in her own little weird way. At the end of the day, she's still a victim to religion and its manipulations. The thing I'm most scared of is failing, though. I'm moving to the US, which is gonna be really hard and difficult. I'm so scared of never making friends there or meeting new people because I'm so introverted and have this fucked up past and family. I'm so scared that one day I'll have to return and my whole family will be like, see, she was out being a W****. Now she's too old to get married. She's miserable because she doesn't have a man and children, blah blah blah. I'm just so scared and anxious of everything lately. It's literally killing me inside that I lost my faith. I've been suicidal since I was 9 because of SA. I endured. Of course I was too scared to speak up. Still no one knows and I never talked about it with anyone. The only reason why I didn't off myself was because I was scared of going to hell. Now that I don't believe in it anymore, I just feel so lost and confused about everything. Edit. I'm very grateful to be born in the West and to have the opportunities to work and save money to one day leave. I know this may sound as champagne problems to some people, but I just don't have anyone to talk to about this. Also, it's supposed to be rant not rent, lol. Stories number 36. To fool by accidentally outing my sister's pregnancy before she was ready. Okay, so here's what happened. My sister recently found out she's pregnant but hadn't told anyone yet except for me, and obviously her husband. She made me swear not to say anything until they were ready to announce it themselves. And I really meant to keep that promise. Fast forward to last night when we were having a small family gathering at our parents' house. Someone brought up babies. I think it was our aunt asking when someone in the family would finally have kids again, and without thinking I blurted out something like, well, you won't have to wait long, while looking directly at my sister. Everyone immediately turned their attention toward her while I realized what I'd just done and wanted to crawl into a hole forever. My sister tried laughing it off at first but eventually admitted that yes, she's pregnant, but they weren't planning on telling anyone until after her first trimester because they wanted to make sure everything was okay first. Now she's furious with me for spilling the beans early, understandably so. Our parents are upset they weren't told sooner, also understandable, and I feel like the worst sibling ever. TLDR, accidentally revealed my sister's pregnancy during a family gathering before she was ready to announce it herself. Now everyone is upset with me. Stories number 37. AIO, my fiance said I need to lose weight. My fiance, 30M, and I, 31F, are getting married in June and he asked what my weight loss goals are. I said, why, do you think I need to lose weight? And he responded, yeah actually I do. You've gained 20 pounds since we've started dating and I think you need to lose it. I think about it all the time. For reference, we've been dating 4 years, no kids, and I have put on about 15 pounds in that time. I'm now 150 pounds and 5 feet 4 inches. I do a boxing class once a week and typically weight train 2-3x a week, but I'm not super consistent. I'm definitely not overweight, but I can admit I'm not in peak shape. I have some cellulite on my legs and big arms. My waist is fairly small, so the weight tends to go to my arms and legs. I have been trying harder to lose weight, but it's not easy for me. I've never been tiny, but I've always been on the healthier side. I'm not in love with working out and I've never been a gym rat or a runner or anything extreme. I just like to be regularly active and healthy, which is enough for me. But apparently not my fiance, who is a gym rat and calorie counter. I'm also pretty healthy overall. I was plant-based for years and now eat some seafood and chicken. But mostly vegetables and not a ton of processed food. I take supplements every day and drink water. I never drink juice or pop or really anything else, aside from alcohol on weekends, which I know doesn't help, but I'm social. I could understand him saying something if I was super unhealthy, but I really don't think I am. Maybe some weeks I don't make it to the gym, and I read a lot, so I might spend an entire Sunday on the couch, but I feel like that should be okay sometimes. I just don't know how I'll ever feel confident in front of him again. I can't imagine being intimate and not thinking about this, wondering if he thinks I look fat. If we weren't getting married, I honestly would probably break up with him, but everything is booked and paid for, and we have family coming in from all over the country and Europe who have already booked tickets. Up until this point we had a fantastic relationship, but I'm having a really hard time getting past this. I know some people would say, lose the weight, aka his weight, but I guess I'm more looking for advice on how to get over this and make him understand how rude and shallow and selfish saying that is. I was hoping he'd be the type of husband to love me in every phase of my life no matter what. Stories number 38. Aita 4, Fat Shaming. My girlfriend is slightly overweight and is trying to lose weight. She's decided to swap out a lot of her unhealthy snacking habits for better options. She's managing to do that, but she's still not seeing that the food she's eating are the same if not more calories. She's cut down on chocolate and replaced it with slightly healthier things such as packs of honey-glazed nuts, Edelman's beans, etc. Because these are healthier, she's started eating a full sharing bag each day. She kept saying how she's glad to be eating healthier and cutting calories. I told her that while she is eating healthier, calorie-wise she's worse off at times, as the bags she's getting through have over 600 calories in. She got defensive at this and accused me of fat shaming her. I just said didn't want her to think she was eating less calories and be disappointed when she wasn't losing weight. I said it's good she's eating better but should try to cut down on the amount. She again said I was fat shaming her and that I was wrong for telling her to cut down. AIW for being honest with her about her food choices. AITA for telling my fat girlfriend that nuts have calories. Shitpost. I, male, feminist, have a girlfriend, female, fat, but I don't think she's fat. I think she's beautiful, whose BMI is triple digits. She recently decided to go on a diet, even though she doesn't need to lose any weight in my opinion. Now, instead of eating a couple pieces of chocolate every day, she hires moving trucks filled to the brim with peanuts and uses a giant tube to move them from the truck to her mouth. Oh my. I was very worried, because I don't think her itty bitty, but also fat, because she's fat, womanly brain could understand that she was actually eating more calories this way. I carefully and very innocently pointed this out to her, for her sake, of course. In a fit of rage, she hissed at me and shoved even more peanuts into her mouth. Bits and pieces of chewed up nuts flew from her mouth as she screamed at me, telling me that nuts are healthy, and therefore, do not have calories. Such a silly girl. Then, she dared to call me a fat shamer. I was devastated. Perhaps she was right. Perhaps I was not a woman-loving feminist, but a fat shamer. Maybe the fact that I was innocently pointing out obvious facts about calories to my stupid fat whale of a girlfriend was, in fact, fat shaming. I'm obviously feeling guilty for my actions. How could I? Anyways, AITA for telling this fatty fat that nuts have calories. Stories number 39. Adopted son was promised to a girl at 6 years old by birth parents. I say that promise died with his birth parents. Short story. My wife were child-free. We adopted our 14-year-old son. He is in college now. We live back in my hometown of LA. I learned recently that at 6 he was betrothed to a 6-year-old girl when they both lived in Myanmar. He will graduate in a year from UCLA. She is going to school to be a doctor in Denmark and has 4 years to go. Her scholarship requires her to work at least 6 years in Denmark as a doctor, something like that. I don't know the details. The agreement was that they would marry when he completes college. She wants to go forward with it. She is pretty and super smart. She would gain a lot because a doctor makes bank in LA. He is not interested, because he has his pick of women in LA. Only he feels bad because in Myanmar he is insulting her family. My wife is indifferent. He is like me. He will get a vasectomy, get married and adopt a child in need. She is very conservative and wants to have a baby. That is a deal breaker. I see the advantages of him getting married to her. That said, I would never expect him to go forward with it. What would you tell him? I am just curious. Edit for the Americans with poor reading skills and that just assume shit. As stated above, I would never expect him to go through with it. He is 20 now and nearly graduated. We adopted him 6 years ago. He is way more mature and much better in school than most American kids. He spent the first 14 years of his life living in strict discipline before the adoption. He is closer to me. I wanted to adopt him. My wife wanted her sister to adopt him. He told me he was betrothed only a few months back. I told my wife and she got excited. She wants to see her son marry a girl from Myanmar, but later said she was different when she learned that he said he is not interested. He is worried about how her family feels, not me. He chats with her all the time. They are more like siblings than a couple. He wants to get a vasectomy and adopt like his father, me. She wants a baby. He asked me for money to visit her. He has not said why. I suppose to get laid. He is 20, and that is how boys think. Did I simplify things enough? Stories number 40. Aita for potentially breaking up my aunt's marriage. This is difficult to explain, and things are still hard. I, 17M, lost my parents last year, and I'm still going through lots of counseling, especially since I felt so much rage at the other driver that T-boned them, driving recklessly with his phone out, texting. My mother had siblings out of state, and her parents, my maternal grandparents, that lived an hour away. I am extremely close to the entire maternal side of my family, and they have been awesome, giving emotional support this entire time, even from far away. It turns out my father has a sister, my Aunt Judy, 42F, who lives in town, but has been estranged from my father's side of the family for years, for reasons I didn't understand yet. My father's wishes haven't been updated since whatever falling out happened, and my Aunt Judy was listed as the preferred person to be my guardian. She lived in town, and it would mean I could stay in school where I grew up. She seemed really eager as well. She was married to Gary, 40SM, who was an alright guy, and worked at a counseling office, and even helped get me a referral to an awesome counselor who has helped me work through a lot of stuff. The problem is Judy is a control freak. I show up and she instantly said that I needed to drop all my father's bad teaching. She tried to put me on an insane diet the second my foot entered the door. Gary got her to back off on the insane diet stuff, but it never ended. She kept badmouthing my parents about how my dad, her brother, raised me wrong. It was actually close to torture, and Gary did his best to make her back off, but whenever he was gone, she would go right back and try to parent me again. The final straw for me was when we went to my parents. We got weekly to clean stuff up, keep the house maintained. I guess now my house, and Aunt Judy made comments that she would like to destroy some of my dad's things. I instantly saw red and told her she has no right. She tried to lord over that. As my only parent, she had every right to make me not turn out like her brother. I called my grandparents, and bless them, they put the fear of God into her. She backed off, and I have been living at my family home again with my grandmother ever since, with my grandfather stopping in every weekend. I've kept in contact with Gary, who has been awesome the whole time, but Aunt Judy has made no attempt to talk to me again. I found out that Gary has started the divorce process and our visits have become less frequent, even though Gary has continued to offer support. I talked to Gary about this mess, and he admitted to me that if not for me being in the mix, he would have never known about how badly Aunt Judy would have acted with kids in the mix. He then said it was not my fault, and it was never my fault. He was actually grateful to know me and that I am a fine young man still, despite Gary's words. I can't help but feel responsible for being dumped into their lives, Aunt Judy's words, and disrupting their marriage by causing strife. I feel awful being even an indirect cause of their divorce, and wonder if I could have just tolerated Aunt Judy's behavior until I graduated high school. Top comments. Commenter 1. NTA, she was estranged for a reason, and she made that abundantly clear to you and Gary. I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm glad you're in therapy. Commenter 2. NTA, your aunt added more trouble to your life when what you needed was stability and affection. You didn't break up their marriage. It turns out their marriage was based on a lie, that Judy appeared to be a decent human being, and Gary is now correcting that Judy destroyed her own marriage and unfortunately you had to witness it. It sounds like Gary is a good guy though. I hope you can keep him in your life. More supportive and caring people always welcome. Commenter 3. NTA, your Aunt Judy's behavior was responsible for their divorce. Period. In fact, sounds like Gary is a great guy and you may have saved him from living the rest of his life with a very demented and controlling person. I'm guessing some of the problems were there long before you arrived, and obviously they remained after you left. Because if the problem was just you being there would be no reason for the divorce, right? Gary sounds awesome and he probably just wants to be happy and with someone who isn't a monster, so instead of worrying about if you broke them up, think of it more that you've opened up Gary's life to good humans. I'm sure his life will be better off for it. Update 1. Someone sent me a private message with a link to what was supposedly my aunt's post from months ago. It was deleted, but from the comments it mentioned things that did happen, like my aunt's die-hard vegan diet and my father's gun safe. Last night I contacted Aunt Judy for the last time. She sounded like she's been angry 24/7 and didn't know how to stop being angry. She blamed me for her marriage's collapse. She blamed my father, her brother, for being a little shit. She cursed out her dead father, my grandpa, for raising us wrong. She blamed Gary for not backing her up. She even cursed out my mother and her parents for raising a little psycho, me I guess. I have no memory of this woman until I moved in with her half a year ago. I was told she was around a lot before I was 5, but I literally can't remember a thing about her now. I'm glad my only exposure to her is only half a year. I told her I wish she would be happy instead of angry, and that just got her screaming some more until I hung up. I will never talk to her again. Top comments. Commenter 1. NTA, you are not at fault for your aunt's marriage breaking. She did that all by herself. Your uncle, Gary, has said confirmed that how low does someone stoop to be that vile on The Departed. Sad part is that she will probably never learn. Commenter 2, oh, you are definitely not the one at fault for the marriage going down the drain. Your aunt is a miserable and abusive control freak and Gary probably just didn't see anymore how bad she actually was, because it, slowly, turned this bad. So when you were brought to them and he saw the sudden rules imposed on you, he realized what a horrible human being she was. You, in an essence, saved him from a miserable life. Now he'll be free to find a lovely, sane, woman. Update 2. Last week I got off the phone with I guess no longer Uncle Gary. His divorce terms with Aunt Judy has been finalized and now they have to wait out a clock, or something like that. Last night, Aunt Judy showed up and dumped a garbage bag of items I left at her place, like the hot plate and skillet. The hot plate smashed and the skillet mostly unharmed. We didn't talk, and my grandma wants to get stuff like legal guardianship and a restraining order in place, but we only have about a year to wait until I turn 18. Despite the dumping of the trash bag, my Aunt Judy has stayed far away and seems fearful of my maternal grandparents. Overall, I'm doing better and I'm not seeing the therapist as much and am trying to figure out where I should go next in life. Top comments. Commenter 1, sounds like you're handling this way better than most would. Aunt Judy's behavior says a lot more about her than it does about you. Props to your grandparents for having your back. You're almost at 18, keep pushing through. Commenter 2, I am very sorry for your loss. Be sure of a few things. While your being in the home may have opened Gary's eyes to his wife's behavior, you are in no way responsible for their split and you may have done him a favor. Immediately after your parents' death is no time to introduce you to new things, especially if that means badmouthing your parents. There is nothing wrong with a vegan diet for people who want to follow a vegan diet. It is healthy and good for the environment. Forcing this diet on you when everything else in your life was changing was just stupid. It's good to hear your grandparents are helping you. Commenter 3, NTA, you didn't blow up their marriage, you helped Gary probably more than you know. Chances are he overlooked things she did because they didn't affect anyone else. With you he could no longer overlook them and had to open his eyes. He sounds like he may want children one day, so you essentially also saved those children from having a mother like her. You didn't blow anything up, you saved several people including your Uncle Gary who helped save you. Stories number 41. My boyfriend, M34, is making me, F23, choose. I've been in a relationship with a guy for a few months now. My best friend, Brienne, who I met at college 5 years ago, wasn't thrilled when I first started dating this guy, because of our age difference and his job, which, in her words, causes a power imbalance in our relationship. She also doesn't like people in this profession, so one could say that she was a bit biased. She advised me against dating him and wasn't happy when we made it official, but after I explained to her that I'm not breaking up with him, she respected that. Still wasn't happy but also understood it was ultimately my decision. After some time, I thought about taking them both out so they can meet each other. Big mistake. I was hoping that once Brienne met him, it would change how she sees him and how she sees our relationship. Not only did it not change, but it made everything even worse. She said that he is not a good guy, that our relationship wasn't going to end well for me, and other bad things about him. She didn't insist, she just said that she has to advise me as my best friend and be honest with me. Moving forward, less than a week later, my boyfriend tells me that I have to stop talking to Brienne and cut her out of my life. It caught me off guard. Brienne is my best friend, and although she doesn't like my boyfriend or our relationship, she respects my decision to stay with him and hasn't talked of him or our relationship again. I asked him why and he said that he thinks Brienne is a bad influence. He then said that he also doesn't like my other friend, Nikki, who by the way he has never even met, as Nikki lives away. That confused me so much. He said that I have to stop talking to them or hanging out with them and told me to delete or block their numbers. I said that there's no way I'm doing that, and then he said that it's either them or him. My jaw dropped. I tried to resonate with him but nothing. I haven't stopped crying. I don't know what to do. I love my friends more than anything, but I also really want to be with him and I'm developing serious feelings for him. He treats me very nicely and I feel really happy in this relationship. I'm at a loss. Update. It took a lot of talking with my family and friends and all of you guys' replies on my previous post, and I actually decided to break up with him, especially since he started being more and more demanding and almost started scaring me. It was scary and I didn't like his reaction at all. There were several moments where I considered apologizing and not going through with it, and even now, I still think about it and question if I did the right thing. It's killing me. I want to go back and I have to keep reminding myself that I did the right thing, although I have my doubts. Stories number 42. Husband just trashed the kitchen. It's daytime. My husband was sitting down whilst I was doing laundry and asked him to sort socks. He has helped before. Somebody picks a color and you go from there. He had only been looking for his socks. This time he has a habit of picking out his laundry from the basket and only doing his, so I was saying, can we just sort all the socks? And that I have noticed he does only his laundry. He kicks the table, nearly falls over, throws a chair, kicks another table with loads of bottles on it, throws the bin, runs upstairs. My heart is pounding and I couldn't get to record it all. I was scared. He runs around upstairs, comes down again. I called him a psycho and he drives off somewhere. Like WTF. Deal with your issues. But as a mom of two, what does this mean for us? We had an issue before Christmas with him getting angry at one of the children for not wanting to go to church one day. I don't go, so I don't mind her not going as she had gone already that morning. I was furious at him for getting angry at her. What do I do, cause I can't really think straight. Update: he is gone somewhere for now. I am so thankful for all the comments, but I need to do some kid stuff now for the evening. I have read them all and liked all your comments. So sorry, so many of you have gone through same and worse. Stories number 43. Aita for not accepting my parents' foster child as my sister. My 15F parents have been fostering Julia, 6F, for the past 7 months. She turned 6 3 days ago and we celebrated her birthday together. They later told me Julia told them her birthday wish was that I loved her back. I felt so sad and guilty when I heard this. I already like her, but she clearly didn't feel this way. My parents then told me maybe I should have a talk with her and tell her she's my sister and I love her. I told them I don't feel ready for that talk. I like Julia, but it's been just 7 months and I don't see her as my sister. They asked me when I would feel ready and I said I don't know. I told them I don't think I'll ever be able to truly see her as my sister. My parents seemed to be surprised by my response. They paused for a while and then said soon they will adopt her legally. So I should accept she's going to be my sister. I don't know why, but I felt so hurt and I started crying. They tried to calm me down, but I just couldn't stop crying. I felt too overwhelmed and threw a little fit. My mom said she's so disappointed in me and my dad told her to give me some time process things. This morning they wanted to talk about this again, but I didn't want to. My mom told me I'm not a kid anymore and that I need to do better than this now. I can't help but feel resentful towards Julia. I know she's just a kid, but part of me even thinks she told them about that birthday wish of hers on purpose to make me look bad. Aita. NFO. Yes, I'm an only child. They didn't start the legal process yet. My mom meant it like they made up their minds about adopting her, as in it is their final decision. Sorry if that part was confusing. English isn't my first language. I read through all of your advice. I decided to have that talk with my parents. I mean, we will have to make that talk at some point anyway. I can't escape forever. I couldn't express myself properly the last time, so hopefully this time I can. I will try to not get emotional and I won't try to change their minds or anything. I would feel forever guilty if they gave up on Julia because of me. I will just express my honest feelings about the situation. I will also try to work on those feelings. Stories number 44. I caught my BF sneaking pills in the bathroom this morning and now I feel weird. I caught my BF taking this bag with pills in the bathroom this morning and when I confronted him about it, he said that he's been taking it for his elbow pain for a week. When I asked him why, he lied to me. He said he didn't want me to think he was an addict. He recently injured his arm at the gym couple months ago and it's been hurting ever since. We went to the doctors to get it checked out, but they just sent him home to just rest and ice it. This past week he's been telling me that he is taking too much Advil, but turns out he is taking these pills that a guy from his gym gave him. What made me angry was he was sneaking around taking these pills that he doesn't even know what they are called. He trusted a guy from his gym and this could potentially harm him. I feel so frustrated that he lied to me and the fact that I've caught him lying about small irrelevant things, which makes me feel so confused cause they're not even a big deal to lie about, throughout our relationship doesn't also help. Also, I looked up the pill and it was an A34 white oval pill which it said was for bacterial infection, which doesn't make sense to me why you take it for pain, but this makes me want to break up with him, but I don't know what to do. What would you do in this situation? Stories number 45. I hate being black. I've been holding this in for so long, and I just need to let it out. Being a black woman feels like being trapped between worlds, never fully belonging to any of them. I feel like I'm constantly performing, trying to be enough for everyone but always falling short. No one likes a nerdy, introverted black woman. It's only celebrated when it comes from certain people. I hate the assumptions and boxes people put me in. I can't walk around a store without being followed. I can't even accept a compliment without it being backhanded. You're pretty for a black woman. What does that even mean? I hate that I'm reminded daily of what I'm not, especially by black men who seem to find every way to tell me I'll never be good enough. I don't feel connected to the culture people automatically lump me into, and I hate being treated like I don't have my own identity. On top of that, my family treats me like a servant while the boys get treated like kings for doing half as much. It's exhausting. Even outside my family, people judge me for being quiet. They assume the worst about me before they even know me, and as much as I try, I can't escape this feeling that I'll never be anything other than black. Not just black, but a specific idea of what people think black should be. I hate that I even feel this way. I wish I could love myself as I am, but sometimes I just wish I wasn't born. It's like I'm not allowed to exist as myself. I don't even know if anyone will understand, but I needed to get this off my chest. Stories number 46. My girlfriend's parents surprised me with a visit overseas. I'm considering breaking up with her. I'm 28 and my girlfriend is 33F. We've been together for a few years and have discussed getting married. Unfortunately, ever since I met her parents last year, their behavior, specifically her mom, has made it difficult for me to see a future anymore. Her mom mistrusts me and it's all based on superficial impressions and assumptions about who she thinks I am. I have tried to show her parents patience and I've been extremely respectful, giving them opportunities to get to know me and overcome their prejudices. Everything came to a head when I went to visit my home country. I have a place here and I came to see a friend get married. Her parents showed up unannounced and requested a ride from the airport. I immediately called my girlfriend despite the time difference because I was in shock. She claims she had no idea about their plans. They claim it was all impromptu, cheap flight, last minute, etc. I just don't buy it. Anyway, I picked them up and they're currently staying with me in my apartment. They've got no itinerary but want me to arrange them to see X, Y, Z, and of course they need me as translator. Everything is apparently too foreign to them. They're lost without me. They refuse to go anywhere without me as an escort. My girlfriend is apologetic, but I just don't see her supporting me in dealing with her parents, especially her mom, who is the instigator. The dad has no backbone, is forced to follow her. I posted another issue a while back too. My girlfriend doesn't support me in setting boundaries, so as her partner I fall into a rock and a hard place type situation. I can't tell if I'm being cold and uninviting, or if these people are crazy and my girlfriend is so afraid of them she didn't even warn me about something like this. I feel like I can handle anything if she's on my side, but it doesn't feel like she is. Maybe I can't be with someone like that. Update. My girlfriend's parents surprised me with a visit overseas. I'm considering breaking up with her. I just wanted to clarify some things. I only met my girlfriend's parents for the first time late November 2024. The reason I picked them up from the airport instead of abandoning them or telling them to go find a hotel, etc., was out of respect for my girlfriend and the relationship I want, Ed, to have with her and her parents. After the first meeting I had with her parents, in late November that I shared in my first post, I confronted my girlfriend. She apologized and eventually her mother did too. Basically, I thought we were past whatever suspicions and mistrust her mother had about me. Then this happened. In the last few days, since this began, I have realized some things about my relationship. My girlfriend has been trying to play both sides. She'll tell me one thing and her parents another thing. She's been hiding some deep trust issues about me and insecurities about our relationship, mostly her fears about me being unfaithful. I want to be clear that these fears are not because of anything that I've done, it's just how she feels. She used her parents to convince me it wasn't her craziness, and I am pretty sure she told her mom how she felt and her mom was willing to be in on it. I broke up with my girlfriend and asked her parents to leave. The friend's wedding I went to hit different because of that, but it also made me realize how unhealthy and toxic my relationship was. I haven't disclosed a lot, but I think I was in an abusive relationship. I am still struggling to accept that. And there is some shame creeping up that I don't understand. Why is it there? Anyway, thanks for all the messages. Sorry my writing skills aren't that great. I'm so drained from this situation. I feel like I need to sleep for a month. I don't even feel like writing about any of this, but I felt I owed you the conclusion. Stories number 47. America is going to be a shouldering heap in the next 4 years and I won't give a fuck. Right now I'm the "this is fine" dog meme watching the flames burn everything down. This post isn't exclusively about Trump, but largely is more people than not voted send the wolf back into the hen house, and whatever happens is officially not my problem. If you voted Trump, third party, or abstained from voting, you voted for Trump. For the rest of my life I will never understand people's appeal in him, no matter how many times they bark their facts at me, and their facts don't care about your feelings attitude even when he is finally gone. The damage left will be unrepairable. No, some lefty president isn't going to swing into action in the next 4 years to deliver a golden age of socialism and universal healthcare. Our social networking and political infrastructure won't allow any possibility of a left-wing president ever again. Biden is as good as you are getting in your lifetime. The SCOTUS will be stacked with hardline conservatives for the rest of your life. Congress will never be anything more than an ineffective roadblock. You aren't getting a minimum wage increase, you aren't getting affordable healthcare, you aren't getting cheaper groceries. All that you are going to get in a nice feculent turd sandwich to chew on while the social fabric decays beyond belief. In the meantime, I will do my absolute best to tune out anything news related. Reading the news to stay engaged is so unbelievably pointless. All modern media exists to do is peddle one-sided news stories and rage bait to make you feel like you are making a difference. This is before AI slop farms will go into overdrive peddling fake news stories to feed you your daily 2 minutes of hate. Though with the brain rot set in and people's attention spans fried, it may have to be condensed into 2 seconds. To quote The Simpsons, it's so gratifying to leave you wallowing in the mess you've made. You're screwed. Thank you. Bye. Stories number 48. Aita for not wanting a relationship with my dad after he showed me for years he'd pick my sister over me. Me and my dad's relationship has always been strained, mostly because of his obvious favoritism to my older sister Jenna. He's always preferred her and she knows that whatever she does, good or bad, he'll support her. About 5 years ago she ended having an affair with my then husband Mark. They had an affair of 3 years, and when I found out he wasn't even apologetic and just divorced me, I turned to my parents for support, and like always my mom was an angel and did her best to support me and check up on me. My dad, on the hand, wasn't. He tried to okay a front that he Was disappointed in her but quickly stopped after she got pregnant with my ex's child. I had a really bad breakdown after the divorce. I ended up calling him just for support, just for once he could be by my side, but who could have guessed he just said he was busy buying shit for Jenna. Since that day I've accepted I don't mean anything to him, at least nothing really important. I focused on my relationship with my mom and moved on from that. Now my dilemma. Since Christmas my dad has tried fixing our relationship. He says he wants me and him to be as close as I am to my mom, which I know would never happen. I've rejected his offer to hang out and just say I'm busy. He's been on my ass about this and now I'm getting annoyed. Things boiled a couple days ago when he showed at my house unannounced and tried spending time. Robbed me. I told him I was busy and told him to leave. He wouldn't, and we went back and forth till he asked me straight up if I hated him for the Jenna thing. I told no, she's his daughter and I never expect him to hate her. He asked then why. I told him because he showed me countless times I don't matter to him. He said I was being harsh and started tearing up saying some shit about how he missed me. I told him again to leave and closed the door on him. Now I'm here asking if I'm the ass. My friends don't think so and said he's just trying to alleviate his guilt. My mom on the other hand said I was too harsh and she thinks he is truly sorry for the past. Aita. Stories number 49. Tofu by accidentally exposing my mom's secret family recipe to the entire extended family. So this happened last weekend, and I'm still getting passive-aggressive texts from my mom about it. For context, my mom is obsessed with her secret family recipe for lasagna. She's been making it for decades, and every holiday or family gathering, people rave about it. It's like her pride and joy. She always says she'll pass it down to me one day when I'm ready, but until then, it's locked away in her brain like the crown jewels. Anyway, last weekend we had a big family reunion at my aunt's house. My mom was busy with work that morning and asked me to bring the lasagna over since she made it the night before. No problem, right? Well, on the way there, I hit a pothole, thanks, city maintenance, and the entire tray of lasagna slid off the seat and onto the floor of my car. Total disaster. I panicked because this wasn't just any lasagna, it was the lasagna. So instead of calling my mom, because I knew she'd lose her mind, I decided to try and salvage things myself. I ran to the nearest grocery store, grabbed all the ingredients I could remember seeing her use over the years, and whipped up a new batch at my aunt's house before anyone arrived. Here's where things went south. Apparently, I nailed it like too well. Everyone kept saying how this was the best version yet and asking what mom did differently this time. My aunt even pulled me aside to say she overheard some cousins whispering that they thought I might have made it because mom never changes anything about her cooking. Feeling guilty but also kind of proud, oops, I admitted to my aunt what happened, and that's when she dropped the bombshell. Apparently, mom has been lying about this being a secret family recipe all along. Turns out she got it off some random food blog years ago but tweaked a couple of ingredients so no one would find out. Of course, word spread like wildfire through the reunion because no one in our family can keep their mouth shut for more than 5 minutes. By dinner time, everyone knew about the great lasagna scandal. My mom found out when someone jokingly asked if she'd be posting her family recipe online now that we all knew its origins. She gave me the look, you know the one, and hasn't spoken more than 2 words to me since Sunday except for sending texts like, hope you're happy. Honestly, I don't even know if I should apologize or just let this blow over. TLDR, tried to save my mom's famous lasagna after ruining it in transit, accidentally exposed her long-held secret that it wasn't actually a family recipe. Now half my relatives think I'm a culinary genius and mom won't talk to me. Stories number 50. Why I wrote every single word the minister said at my wedding. My husband, then fiancé, and I attend a wedding of some friends of mine in a small Iowa town. It was at the church the bride grew up in, and the pastor had known the bride since she was in elementary school. The church and all in attendance were beautiful. Then we got to the part of the service where the pastor gets to give a little sermon. He starts with talking about the church bells that rang before the service and how the couple will never hear church bells again without thinking of their wedding day. Oh, then he slides into how some couples don't like to hear the church bells because they're divorced and expounds on divorce rates. My husband and I cringed, but I thought maybe he'd circle around and talk about how this couple will make it. Spoiler alert, he did not. Instead, he switched to telling about how some small fishing village on Lake Michigan, can't remember the name, associates the bells with the death of their loved ones. One day there was a horrible storm that swamped a good chunk of the village's fleet, killing 36 men. The church rang the bell 36 times to honor them. My husband and I looked at each other in horror. Fast forward to the 2 of us meeting with the minister at my husband's church. I'm grilling him about how he runs his wedding ceremonies. He gently quips, "Do you just want to write it for me?" I immediately respond with, "Yes." He looks startled, and then my husband tells him about my friend's wedding. The pastor is horrified and turned to his filling cabinet. He pulled out 3 past wedding services, hands them to me and says this is the style he prefers and the format he wants the service written in. And that, my friends, is how I wrote every single word that came out of the pastor's mouth at my wedding. Stories number 51. Her face went red in anger. I thought I'll share another story from my time as a worker at a very popular theme park in Florida. I've mentioned in other stories I've shared that I worked at an attraction. One day I was fast pass line greeter and it was in the middle of peak season. We were ridiculously crowded with wait times for standby being 2 hours. Single rider around 50 minutes and fast pass over an hour. We were instructed to allow people in on the time stamped on their fast pass to help thin the line sometimes. When it wasn't as busy we would allow people to enter 5 minutes earlier than their ride reservation. A woman wearing white shorts, a fanny pack and a white sun visor came walking up happily with her group and showed me her fast pass. I stopped her because it was 10 minutes early. I politely explained she would have to wait to enter on the time stamped on the fast pass ticket. Woman: oh come on. Really? It's just a few minutes early. Me: I apologize ma'am, unfortunately we are very busy so you'll have to wait for the time on your fast pass. Woman: that's ridiculous, everyone else let us in a few minutes early. Woman tries to walk past me but it's not happening. I block her by stepping in her way. I smile and ask her to step to the side. Woman: ugh. I continue to let people in according to the times on their passes as the woman glares angry daggers at me. A man next to her tells her to just wait, it's not that serious, but she's fuming. Literally 3 minutes go by and she storms back up and shoves the pass in my face. Woman: good enough now, can I go in now? Me trying to remain magical: ma'am you still have 7 minutes until you can enter, please step to the side. Woman: you're joking, 7 minutes? You're not seriously going to make me wait for 7 minutes? Me: yes, please step to the side. Another 2 minutes go by as a line of people come in. I check everyone's time, not looking at faces so much but hands and tickets. When I see the same ticket I look up and it's the same woman again. She still had 5 minutes to wait. Now I'm irritated and she's irritated. I just stare at her for a few seconds quietly before doing a 2-finger point back to the side where her group and others were waiting patiently. She stormed back off as my coworker K walked up with my brake slip. The woman instantly got a grin on her face when she saw I was about to leave. Her grin pissed me off and my petty box was immediately switched to on. I gave K a brief version of events and instructed him to make sure she waited until the exact time printed on the freaking fast pass ticket. He laughed a bit and said, okay. I walk away but only a few feet when she sauntered over arrogantly grinning to K and shows him the ticket. K: sorry but you'll have to wait until the time printed on the fast pass ma'am. Woman with her face turning incredibly red in anger: did she tell you to do that? K: I have to work with her. Me standing pettily a few feet away. Stories number 52. Dating: men, in your 30s. I, 33F, have been seeing this guy, 42M. For 6 months he got fired from his job as a bartender in December and has been unemployed until last week. I edited his resume and helped him draft emails and a letter of intent to his, now, employer because he is bad at that kind of stuff, which I don't judge him for. He got the job with my help. I live in the downtown area of a major city 2 blocks from where I helped him find a job. He lives in a cheaper part of the city about 15 miles away. I work in healthcare and worked 52 hours in 4 days, was in massive overtime. Leading up to this weekend he wanted to hang out after I got done with work Saturday. I promised him we could by the time I got home, Saturday at noon. I was too exhausted, so I told him I needed a rain check. He was supposed to work today, Sunday. At noon he called me Saturday night and gave me grief about reneging on our plans. I explained I worked at night and hadn't slept in almost 24 hours, but eventually relented. He came over Saturday night and just hung out in my apartment while I slept the whole time. This AM, I woke up and told him I needed to do errands, politely asking him to go back to his place around 8 AM. He told me if I made him go back to his place this AM he just wouldn't show up to his new job at noon because it is too far to go back and forth, and he hadn't slept because he came over to my place Saturday night. He said doesn't really need to work. I got kind of angry because that is ridiculous and manipulative. Long and short, I am ending it with this guy. What I cannot wrap my head around is the idea that a man, 9 years older than me, is not capable of taking a modicum of pride or responsibility for himself or his job. I am posting this because this seems to be a trend with men of my generation, i.e. millennials. It almost feels wrong dating guys from my generation because those available have the maturity level of a 13-year-old. TLDR. Helped a boyfriend get a job. He told me he wouldn't show up to work if he couldn't stay at my place the night before he was due to work because the commute from his place was too far. Stories number 53. Naive girl learns some things about pregnancy risks. This thread reminded me of another pregnancy story. I was at a birthday of a friend. He invited some colleagues as well, of which one who was quite a bit younger than us, and he brought his equally young, and rather naive girlfriend with him. As the evening progressed, I ended up talking with my friend's wife, and the young couple the conversation went to pregnancy. As my friend's wife had 2 kids, the wife commented about how she was done after 2 kids, and doesn't want to get pregnant anymore. I knew the last birth was pretty rough on her, but I didn't know the full extent of it. The naive girlfriend knew even less, and started commenting about how she could even make that choice, and how birth is the most beautiful thing a woman can experience. Well, this didn't sit right with the wife, and as I saw her eyes burn a red-hot hatred, she pulled a hold my beer moment. At that point I and the naive couple got the full version of what happened during the last labor. Basically everything that could go wrong without anyone dying, went wrong, and my friend's wife and her son had some close calls during the labor when the contraction started, and the water broke. He had pooped in the water. So that was problem 1 during the labor, and after she lost so much blood the doctors were genuinely worried if she could make it. The labor itself took almost 20 hours. She ripped apart down below that she needed a lot of stitches, and I'm pretty sure I'm still forgetting some other details. The naive girlfriend looked like a goldfish in a bowl the whole time the wife was talking, and I was impressed on how someone with intent could traumatize someone with just facts. Both the wife and son are healthy now, but damn if it wasn't close. Stories number 54. Fiance used my childhood trauma to win a video game. I don't even know how to type this or explain my thoughts right now, so I apologize if I seem scattered. I, 31M, have been engaged to my fiancée, 29F, Emily, for the past 3 months. Together for 2 years. She has been the only relationship where I felt safe enough to open up and discuss my past trauma. Many nights I have cried into her arms, and she has been there to comfort me. She goes to therapy with me and has been a rock in our relationship. I have been getting much better since I have really opened up about it and have been able to live a better and liberating life the past 2 years until last Saturday. Emily is ultra competitive, not just in sports, but in life. She will do whatever it takes to win and be number 1. She has lost friendships, family relationships, jobs, and money. She understands this and has been trying to get better by going to therapy, stating she doesn't know why she is like this. She seemed to cool down over the summer, but she is still very competitive. Even her parents have no idea because they were not athletes and have never pushed her to be number 1, and her siblings are confused when this all started. I was a former college athlete, and yes, I am competitive, but not so much anymore. And recently my friend group have begun a monthly game night. I was on a 4-month win streak. We play board games, old video games, painting, basketball, and even football, and it was all in good fun. But Emily last month was so angry she did not win. She walked home and did not want to talk to me for at least 2 days before we left for game night. I asked her to please have fun, and it does not matter who wins. She promised she would try. As game night came to an end, Emily and I were tied with one more. Event rules are: if it is man versus woman, the lady chooses the final game. She selected N64 Mario Kart. I am king of that game. I never lose. I asked her if she really wanted to do that and called me a chicken and was big talking she will beat me at my own game. I should have backed off, but I caved, and we raced. Now, common knowledge is, let her win, and trust me, I thought about it, but she gets really angry if she thinks you let her win. Her attitude is way worse. Then as we started racing, it was a tight race, she kept hitting the banana peels, but she kept catching up. The last lap she started trying to distract me by saying, he snores when he sleeps, basic middle school insults. Then she tried bumping me to distract me, but I was locked and focused. I responded back, at least I don't keep hitting the bananas, love. Very simple and fun. We are in the final leg of the race, and that's when she snapped, at least I didn't get SA'd by my own family. I froze up and dropped the controller, and she passed me and won. She was jumping up and down with joy, was screaming and dancing that she finally won. From what my friends told me later, that she kept that up for a good while until she saw my face, and that's when she stopped. My friends were in complete shock, asking me if that was true. I could not speak, I couldn't breathe, and was fighting back all the inner demons I had swirling in my head. I simply got up and wished them a good night and started walking. I was in a trance. I didn't know where I was walking to. Emily tried calling and texting asking where I was, begging for me to call and come home, kept saying she is sorry, just wanted to win so badly, and don't know why I said that. I simply needed space, and I told her to please stop calling me. I don't know what to do. I loved this girl and trusted her, but used that trust to win a Fiance video game. My friends are asking me about my past and won't leave me alone. I guess all I am asking is, there any way back from this, or is this the end? Do I dump her or try and work this out? Any advice would be very helpful. TLDR, fiance used my childhood trauma to win a video game. Top comments. Commenter 1. Man, she got serious issues. In my eyes, there no coming back from this. How could you ever trust her again? Commenter 2. Dude, right? Like, what's to say she won't do it again and blame her competitive personality for it? Commenter 3. She used your biggest, deepest wound, one that she only knew about because you trusted her, to win a dumb game. She exposed your biggest, deepest wound to other people without your consent. There is no coming back from this. You shouldn't want to come back from this. How will you ever be able to trust her with anything again? She has shown you who she truly is. You deserve better. I am very sorry you had this experience. I hope you are okay. Edit. I want to thank everyone for their comments and DMs. I have been reading all of them for the past 3 hours. I guess I knew this was the end of this relationship. But after spending 2 years with someone and had strong feelings and trust, one wanted to see if a majority of people could see something else that I didn't that could save it. And reading the comments, I guess I overlooked that massive red flags that Emily had. I decided to sit down with my friend group tonight and tell them my past. It will be difficult and will text Emily tonight and meet with her tomorrow. I will update tomorrow after that conversation. Update. Hey all. I want to thank everyone again for all the support. It helped me clear up my head and really reflect the past few months with Emily and finally see the red flags I ignored or didn't press hard enough on. First of all, I need to get this off my chest. From ages 11 through 13 I was sick by my aunt. She would come over to babysit and she would do the deeds and have me do stuff to her. She would threaten me if I ever spoke out. I tried to tell my parents if she could not babysit. But my mother told me that her sister absolutely loves you and wants to spend time with you since she can't have children. If it wasn't for my dad forgetting his wallet one night, I believe she wouldn't been caught. My mom went mental and did not believe any of it and went on the campaign tour around town saying she is 100% innocent and I am just confused. My dad went into the bottle and tried to enter the shadow realm because he couldn't forgive himself for missing the signs. My mom then threatened me to make an announcement that her sister is not a predator, and then attacked me. My dad divorced my mom and she and my aunt moved elsewhere. All these years later she truly believes her sister didn't do the deeds. My dad and I are okay. He does not want to be around me much because of the guilt. Second, I met with my friends and told them my story and they all apologized and promised to help protect me in the future with relationships. They told me what happened after the event. Emily was trying to defend herself by claiming, I did not mean to say it, he took it the wrong way, I just needed to win this, I love him and didn't mean it. She has been calling all of them begging for them to please help her, win me back, and she will do whatever it takes, and see anyone to help her with her condition. Meeting today with Emily. My friends invited her over and would sit in the other room while we talked. Emily was unhinged, came flying into the house trying to hug me, but my friends held her back and told her to just sit. I asked her why she said what she said. Emily, I don't know, I just needed to win so badly. I followed up with why she needed to win this one. Emily, because it was your best game and I don't know, I just needed to win. I again asked why she needed to win, what was the importance of winning. Emily through her tears, I don't know. I needed to win. She kept repeating the same line over and over. So I asked if she had planned on using my trauma against me and if that is why she chose Mario Kart. I never seen someone go white so fast. Emily just looked at me and put her hands in her face and blurted out, I can't stand not winning. I knew you would get distracted, and I could win and finally feel great because these past 4 months I've been so depressed from feeling like a loser and knew I could win with this plan. I was in shock and couldn't believe she said that. I realized that some of the commenters were right. She had this planned. I am still trying to gain control of my thoughts on this one. You had this planned? I asked. Emily, yes. I didn't think about what would happen after, and when I saw your face, I knew I messed up. Please, I want to get help and will do anything. Please don't end this. I asked if this was another competition in her head to win me back. No. I mean, in a way yes, but not like that. So if you win me back, you'll feel better that you won. I told her I can't trust her anymore. What if we had kids? Will you see them as competition? If your friends are being flirted with, will you try and get more attention for the win? What if I am simply doing something and you blurt that out again to win? She had to be escorted out by my friends and was told by one of them I should get a restraining order because her mental of losing you may break her mind and do whatever it takes to win me back. So again, thank you everyone for all the comments. I am going to get more help and take a break from dating until I find someone who I can trust 100%, and now my friends will be on extra guard for any Emily sightings and future dating red flags. Stories number 55. Aita for invading my sister's privacy because I don't want her to go to jail. Not the a-hole. I, 34F, borrowed my sister's, 34F, let's call her Lisa, iPad for a work course. For context later, we both work in the same industry, but Lisa is also working a second job and both jobs require licensing and a clean criminal record. I was in the middle of the course, everything was dandy until a Telegram message notification from a Tom popped up on the iPad. Was writing notes, so I impatiently swiped it away. However, the notifications kept coming and by that time my eyes were traveling to the messages out of reflex. The notifications only showed replies from Tom, but whatever I saw was enough to raise alarm bells in my head. I can't remember everything, but this was what I saw. You have $1,000, I transfer in, you create account ALR, iClub88, give me your ID and PW. My VPN kept saying can you log in again, been doing it for 6 years and I have never lost money, don't believe I can't help you win some too. A quick search on the web would tell you iClub88 is an online gambling platform. We don't gamble. I fought with the demons inside me for all of tens before I tapped into the app. I realized Tom is someone I know as well and whose name was in fact Dave, 27M, we got to know Dave in a work event recently, so I wouldn't call us friends. The first thing I noticed in the convos was Dave's incessant pestering for Lisa's nudes, which thankfully she kept saying no, but the tone of the entire conversation was sexual and there was flirting on both sides. I consulted a close friend of ours, and from what we gathered, this is most likely the start of a money mule scam. The nudes requests are hopefully Dave being a horny little shit, but I fear there are more sinister intentions behind it. To cut the story short, I ended up confronting Lisa within a day by apologizing for going through her Telegram and then proceeding to tell her I think she's getting scammed in our country. Victims who are being scammed to become money mules still get a fine and jail term. Our close friend has a young cousin, juvenile, under investigation. He also personally knows an adult professional awaiting sentencing. It is not a matter of if, but when she will be getting jailed because of this. Her career is gone. I told Lisa the implications of losing licensing for both her jobs, which she has told me multiple times how much she loves. The response I got from her was a deadpan, only a few years jail term, whatever. I'm going to attribute this to ego. When she confirmed that none of the money was hers and the $1,000 I saw in the conversation was Dave transferring $1,000 into her account and lost it, I knew most likely that money laundering is involved. When I got to the part about the nudes and how the Telegram ID was not tagged to his number and why he's using a VPN, she got really pissed and embarrassed. She did add that she had since closed the account, so I should STFU about it. She hasn't spoken to me since. Aita. I am frantic. What should I do? Stories number 56. My friend got a stain on the bedsheet during a stayover and I'm getting shit from my mom. Two of my friends came over to stay, and one of them was on her period at night. She ended up bleeding on the bedsheet and mattress. I know this happens, but my mom is very obsessed with cleanliness. She didn't openly say anything to my friend but removed the bedsheet and asked, "Can you clean it?" My friend raised her hand, but the way my mom said it made it feel like she was asking me instead, so I took it on myself. But then my mom said, "Are you really going to wash it? But you just showered." This made me feel like my friend felt awkward, and then my mom asked my friend to clean it, which she did. They spoke for a bit, joked and everything. My mom said it's okay, and then my friend went home. After that, the real drama started. My mom said, I didn't like her attitude. She expected me to clean it. I mean, my friend didn't offer, but she did clean it when asked. My mom also mentioned that my friend asked her not to wake up the other friend, because she would clean the bedsheet right there, but my mom didn't like that either. Since she values cleanliness so much now, my mom is saying there will be no more sleepovers when they're on their period. My friends had left, so she said this to me, like, it's not something you can control. My friend even seemed embarrassed. Even the maid mentioned it to my mom. I told my mom that my friend looked awkward, but she just looked at me, baffled, and asked if she was the one who made my friend feel awkward. I didn't say anything because I knew it would start another fight. My mom is also upset that the mattress still has a stain and that she had more work because of this. She invited them over, not me, since I have exams, and always complains about how much work she has when people are at our place. I feel more uncomfortable about the whole situation because, if I were in this position, my friend's mom would have been nothing but supportive. I can't talk to anyone else about this without causing drama, because we're all mutual friends, and I can't openly tell my mom anything since I'm a teenager, but this situation just feels awkward. I want to know, from an outsider's perspective, who seems to be in the wrong here and how I can stop feeling guilty about all of this. P.S. Our relationship is not really friends, it's family cause her mom considers me her daughter and vice versa. I just said friend cause this is not throwaway. Update. First off, thank you to everyone who commented. It has given me some clarity on what to do. A few things I need to address. The "you just showered" comment was directed at me when I misunderstood and took the bedsheet. It probably made my friend feel quite embarrassed, because she probably felt like she was dirty or SMTH. I would like to try hydrogen peroxide, but I don't know how to bring it up with my mom since we aren't speaking right now. I'll get to that. I'm not sure if my friend offered to clean it. I was freshening up when they found the stain, but when she said she'd clean it there and then without removing the bedsheet, my mom got the ick and told her no, then removed the bedsheet, which is probably why my friend didn't ask if help was needed again. Some comments mentioned how my friend should have cleaned it. I felt that she should have offered to, though she was probably awkward. She was in no way expecting my mom to do it. Also, maids are quite a norm here, doesn't mean we won't do our work. Now, for what happened after they left, my friend messaged and apologized to my mom, and my mom replied saying, "It's okay, darling, it happens to everyone." I was relieved to think it was behind us. My mom showed me the text and said, "Yeah, it happens to everyone," etc. She was being pretty nice, but then she brought it up again, saying she feels the bedsheet and blanket are dirty, blah blah. I finally told her I feel bad for my friend a bit, and my mom snapped at me, saying I'm feeling bad for the wrong person and that I should be feeling bad for her because she works so much and how she had more work today. She then started ignoring me. So now we aren't speaking, and honestly, I think I should just let it cool as usual, after every fight, either we'll have a talk where she victimizes herself, or she might just start talking to me depending on her mood. Stories number 57. Aita for getting my dad into trouble by telling my mom he wasn't spending the child support she paid on me. My mom was in an accident when I, 17 was 14 and was left disabled as a result. Because of this, my parents decided it would be for the best if my dad had custody of me because mom had a long recovery ahead of her and she'd need a lot of help herself. My mom paid child support to my dad for me, only it was never spent on me, it went on his stepkids. He saved it for them and never used it on me. Even when I did need money for things, he had me overdraw on my school lunch account and then wouldn't pay the balance. I had to do it with money from my grandparents. Even though he was the one who last minute said we had nothing for me to take a lunch from home because his stepkids were getting more for theirs because it wasn't enough when I needed supplies for a school project, he refused to pay for them. I wasn't allowed to get a haircut even though the stepkids. My dad and his wife all got them whenever his wife was getting her hair dyed every other month and his stepdaughter got highlights for her birthdays. I got way less than the stepkids for food too. Lots of stuff like that was going on while I was there. There was a lot of stuff like that, and while mom was deep in recovery I didn't want to upset her with it, but eventually I told her because she wasn't giving her disability money from my care for it to go to kids who are nothing to her. My mom was so pissed and so were my grandparents. I moved in with my mom and my grandparents moved in with us, so my dad couldn't fight against us. Then she got the courts involved and they didn't like it. I had proof, or well, my mom brought the proof I had for the courts. They decided dad should pay it back since he was abusing it and not providing for me the way the court order said. He only got away with it because mom didn't see me as much as she otherwise would have. My dad and his wife are pissed at me for doing it when one of the stepkids has a long-term medical issue. They said I could have been understanding and I was old enough at 16 when I told my mom and moved back in with her. To no medical issues take priority. They said it benefited my family and I might not have got a comfortable time there, but I got enough. My mom said the stepkids got enough though, and that's why I wasn't wrong, but my dad and his wife accused me of acting out of spite. Aita. Stories number 58. Aita for ruining the mystery neighbor game my apartment complex plays. I, 40 live in a small apartment complex where everyone knows each other. A few months ago, someone started leaving little gifts on people's doorsteps, things like cookies, flowers and handwritten notes. It became a whole thing, and people started calling them the mystery neighbor. Everyone was excited, and the complex started to feel more like a community. I'm not into these kinds of things, but I admit, it was cute. I got a more once with some candy, and it said someone generic like, "You're awesome." People began speculating about who it could be, and there was a lot of buzz. One day, I happened to catch Megan, my upstairs neighbor, sneaking down the hallway early in the morning with a basket full of goodies. She didn't see me, but it was obvious she was the mystery neighbor. At our next building hangout, people were jokingly trying to guess who it was, and I casually said, "Oh, it's Megan, isn't it?" Megan went bright red, and everyone happened she admitted it, but looked embarrassed. Now some people are upset with me for ruining the fun. A few neighbors said they liked the mystery and that I spoiled it for everyone. Megan hasn't been as friendly since, and I feel bad because she clearly looked being anonymous. Stories number 59. AIO my stepdad asked for my permission to fuck my best friend. Edits for clarification. My mom is not in the picture she left us. There's the story why behind she's not around on my profile. I know this seems fake. Believe me or don't, I just have a passion for oversharing on the internet. Months ago, my stepdad was driving me to work and we were talking about random stuff. Then, he prefaced a question with, "Can I ask you something without you taking it seriously and or freaking out?" Paraphrasing. Then, he proceeded to ask for my permission to pursue my best friend, Valerie, romantically and sexually. He said he's really attracted to her authenticity and her looks. Keep in mind that Valerie is 23, and he is 46. He was her age when she was born. I obviously said no and was clearly taken aback. He asked me to keep it between us. I will admit I didn't respect this and immediately told her my reasoning for this is that 1, we tell each other everything, and 2, I would want to know if an older man that I was around quite frequently was thinking those things about me. My best friend, rightfully so, is at my house less and actively avoids interacting with him. He has noticed this and has complained to everyone in the house besides me that he hasn't seen Valerie since we had that conversation. He has made it very clear that he thinks he has done nothing wrong. Other family members have defended him and told me that I shouldn't have told Valerie, but I don't regret it. AIO to think that his confession to me was weird, and his reaction to the consequences is even weirder. I am interested to hear other people's opinions on this because of course my friends and partner agree with me, especially so Valerie. How should I approach the conversation if he confronts me about it? TLDR, my stepdad wants to fuck my best friend now. He's sad he doesn't see her anymore. Edit, my mom is not in the picture, but I still live with my stepdad. There's another post on my profile that explains why the other person in my household is my great aunt, who said it's common that younger women chase after older men all the time, and that I shouldn't have told Valerie.